Yeah, what is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back. It's your boy Blue. It's the Blu-XPerience, and we got our homie XP as per usual. And our special guest, if you don't know him, now you know him, Mr. Captain Canada, the legend.
Hello, hello.
Wow. Blue, what a moment, man. We've been waiting this for a minute, right?
Yeah, man. It's we've had talks before about, man, it would be really dope to have like just talk, with the captain. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Pleasure to be here.
Actually, let me do it justice. Let me actually introduce you properly. Ladies and gentlemen.
What you got against my introduction?
Nothing, man. Fine. No, hey, guys, thank you so much, man. Welcome aboard to another episode of Blu-XPerience. Mr. Captain Canada was gracious enough to come by and hang out for the next hour or so and just talk all things flight sim and then some.
Yes.
So, Cap, welcome aboard, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Blue,
for the introduction.
man.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you
Absolutely.
for having me, guys.
You know what we forgot though? I don't know if XP has it ready. But we were supposed to come in with the shades on.
Oh, that's right.
With the shades.
Oh, yeah. I'm not bad. Hold on.
We were supposed to intro with
Oh,
the shades on.
There you go.
There it is.
See?
There
you
it is.
go.
The mandatory stream
Oh,
equipment.
man.
Let's just say that I have no idea how you do this, man. Seriously, that is some commitment.
Can we start there?
I mean,
Can we start? Because I know in my streams, sometimes I wear
with the
shades.
glasses.
Sometimes I wear my shades and I'm like, I don't know how Captain Canada does it because I can't see nothing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was to a point where I think I had practiced so much off of stream just wearing the glass. I'm not even kidding. Like, that's not even. I would sit there and I would practice in the early days with my shades on because you're 100% right. The depth perception sometimes when you're wearing your glasses can kind of mess with your mind a little bit, and it feels like you're a lot higher than you are. But yeah, it was a lot of practice with my glasses on. That's for sure.
That's amazing.
Wow. No, it's good because I'm telling you, a lot of people have thought about using that same style and they fail at it. They're like, just take the glasses off. Don't even bother, man.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's not an easy feat. You guys will know it. I always tell people, I'm like, just try it out, see how it goes. If you can do it, you can do it. If you can't, I mean, there's no shame in it, right?
So what about night flights? Like how does that look for you? Do you do night flights?
Ones are tough. Yeah, those ones are tough. We do night flights, and I'll be the first one to say recently over the past 6 months or so when we're doing those types of flights, I'll tease chat. I'll put on the joystick cam or the yoke cam, and I'll take the glasses off, and I'll put the glasses just in view of the camera,
you're funny.
so they can see that I'm not wearing the glasses. Because yes, landing at night, that's where it becomes. But there are plenty of videos up and streams where I before I had my yoke cam or my joystick cam, where I would land wearing my sunglasses, and they definitely weren't the best landings.
So it's like a strip tease.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Well, listen.
Weird aviation themed striptease. Yeah.
Exactly. Come to find out, like 5 years from now, we find out that he's the one who's been saving his eyes from these computer glare, and we've been ruining our eyes this entire time.
Oh man, the amount of hours we spend on these screens, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
are the shades special in any way? Like, are they like,
Nope. They're not special in any way. They're just regular everyday Ray-Bans, nothing great. They're like the cheapest pair of Ray-Bans that you can buy as well. I used to have aviators, but the wire frame, these are new headsets. I could probably do it now. These headsets are they don't push my head in as much, but the old Sennheiser headsets that I had, they used to pinch, and it would leave like welts, and they would like almost bruise from the metal digging into me. So I switched to these plastic ones because they're thicker and thicker width-wise, but a lot skinnier, so they'd slip back. But that was always the problem with the aviators.
That's the level of commitment that people don't understand. The things you got to go through. The show must go on, regardless if you finish a stream and there's like a big line in the side of your head from your glasses. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I hear you, man. Wow,
and they hurt.
Wow.
That was the worst part, is it would hurt. You get halfway through your stream and you'd be turning off the camera just so you could like adjust your sunglasses.
So that explains those breaks you used to take between flights.
Oh yeah.
There
Just
you go.
Just stretching, guys. Just stretching.
Captain, we lost you for us. We hear you, but your camera is like broken. Not
Oh,
sure if
that.
you can see it.
Is it?
Uh,
I can
It,
pop it up there.
it's Discord. Yeah, I got him
Is
on
it
my end here. I
Discord?
can see him. I can see him locally on my Discord here. Of course, Stream Gremlins up as usual.
As we're talking about the shades, he goes black.
Exactly.
This is what Captain Canada
Stream.
sees during streams.
Oh no! Come on,
That's all
man.
I see. That's it.
I know. I know.
Oh
Wow.
man. Let me
Yeah.
know if I need to maybe restart the camera on my end or.
Let me
No.
see.
Yeah.
Maybe try
Let me ask you this.
Everything.
Yeah, everything looks good over here on my
Or
end of
maybe I
the
need to restart.
Discord here.
I'm scared to restart mine though, because I might have to reset it up.
Nah, we'll keep talking. We'll roll with it, man. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It
No
might
worries at
come
all.
back. It was random. We'll see. I'll see if I can do anything
Yeah.
on my end.
Absolutely. But, look, this is where I wanted to start, having you on the show and so forth and having a lot of questions. Three of us are streamers. You've been doing longer than us and your level of success and where you are and so forth. And a lot of people come up and say, hey, man, how do I start streaming? What do I need? What do I need to buy? Do I need to get a shades? Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my question, exactly right. My
What
question to you
shades
is
do I buy?
exactly. How did you happen to get into
There we
the
go.
streaming
You're
game
back.
first of all?
That's a
how did
great
that go?
question.
Yeah. How did you get to the streaming game?
So the whole flight simulator thing started when I was really young. My grandfather was never a pilot or anything, was never trained like that, but had this passion as far back as I can remember. Like we're talking early 90s, like original X-Plane, 1993, FS95, FS98, all of those sims. Kind of started from there, and the whole streaming thing actually came to light. It's such a crazy story. I never really even planned to do this. That's like the kind of the funny thing, and I think that's kind of where the success kind of fits hand in hand. Is I never I started creating videos on YouTube because I was bored. I had a really good job. The job that I was working, the company that I was working for decided to close their doors after I was there for, I think, 4.5 years. And because of the job that I was doing and because of where I live, it's not very, it's not a production town. There's not a lot going on here as far as production and welding, and more importantly, special metal welding, which I was trained to do. So stainless steel, aluminum, that type of welding. So I was given a year. I had paid into, I'd basically paid into like an employment insurance type of deal, where if I were to lose my job, it basically gave me a year's worth of 70% of my salary that I was making to find another job based in my field because it was so specialized. During that year, I decided almost at the very beginning, I was huge. I used to spend all my spare time flying. And like a lot of people that watch us when we're streaming, a lot of the times what I would do is while flying, I would watch other streamers. I would watch Jeff Favignano. I would watch Chewy. I would watch Bellins, Matt Davies. I would watch Cat Strader. I'd watch all kinds of videos. I watched a series with Jeff. The one that like kind of like solidified the fact that I wanted to do it was the my father had passed away. Not to get like super emotional, but my father had passed away, and Jeff had these videos up with his dad, and it was flight. I think they were called Fly with Dad.
Wow.
So he had this whole series where like he was kind of teaching his dad how to fly, and Jeff was teaching his dad the whole like his passion for flight sim, and obviously going through the emotional stuff that I was going through at the time. That it really drew me in. It was like, holy, like this is something I want to do. This is cool. I wish I could do this with my dad. You have all those things that happen when people pass. And so I sat down and I said, okay, well, I've got a decent computer. I had a really good job, a good paying job as a welder, and I had a good computer. I had the setup, I had the peripherals. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start making videos. And whether anybody watches it or not, I don't really care. I'm just going to make videos. Because it's something that I wanted to do. I didn't want to make money off of it. I really didn't want to make subscribers off of it. I just wanted something to do every day that wasn't, spending 4 hours sending emails and resumes off looking for a job. So
Yeah.
I would wake up every morning. I would take care of that. I would take care of the, searching for the jobs and sending emails and making calls and contacts. And then I would spend my evenings in the simulator, and I would do flights, and I would, I would do the same flight 3 times over, and I would record every takeoff, every landing. And out of those three bits that I would do, I would take the best one, and I would go, and I had some, I can't even remember what it was called. It was the cheapest video editing software I could find on the internet. It cost me $59. It was a one-time payment. I'm pretty sure I still have the email somewhere. I have the one-time pament. It was like I cannot remember. Which would have been good if I could remember the name. But anyways, it was some unknown, and it was so simple. They had 10 transitions. There was a cut and a paste. And that was pretty much it. And you could piece together your videos. And that's what I did for the first, 4 to 6 months of my YouTube. I just would the same routine every morning. I would wake up. I'm very much a routine guy, like very, very much a routine guy. So that's kind of how I started. And when I hit 500 subscribers back then, there wasn't a lot of people doing this. There really wasn't. Like I feel one of the good things about Microsoft Flight Sim and just our hobby in general gaining so much popularity is the influx of streamers and the influx of content creators. And there's so many people that do what we do now. It's hard to keep track of all of the names and everybody that does this now, because there are so many good content creators. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is there's people, just the way that I was inspired by those guys, is I feel like we're almost like inspiring more people to be doing this and to show people that the hobby's here and fully ready to go. And at 500 subs, I said, okay, camera's going on. I went to Walmart. I bought a $29 HP 1080p camera.
Nice.
It was locked at 30 FPS, so we couldn't really do much. And I believe like that night or the next day I went live, and I kind of just stuck to a schedule. There was, I think, 1 or 2 people watching me for a year, 6 to 8 months to a year. There was maybe 2 or 3 people watching. Dan Barry, who I saw in chat earlier, was definitely one of them. So shout out to Mr. Dan Barry, sticking through the thick and the thin of it, man. And yeah, I just started streaming, and from there, it kind of grew, and it was just like this big snowball effect over the next 6 months. And basically it got to the point where my 1 year of employment insurance that I had paid into was finished, and it was time that I really had to go. I'd at this point I'd gotten myself in such a routine looking for that perfect job, and then creating YouTube and having fun at the end of the day and during my evenings, that it was just, I lost 6 months like that. I mean, when you create content every day and you're doing that, yeah, it was gone.
Blue, remind me to look into that unemployment insurance, bro. I think I like that 8 months.
Man, I got it. Listen, it's one of those things where I truly feel, I tell people this all the time, and I'm not really one of those superstitious people where like I feel like something, but this was like one of those moments where I truly feel like this was meant to happen. This was like a calling.
Yeah.
We had just transitioned. I was flying X-Plane 10. And almost right when this happened, X-Plane 11 came out, or right when I started streaming. So right around 500 to 700 subscribers is when I started streaming. And that's when X-Plane 11 dropped. So it was, or the beta, the early access of X-Plane 11. And so it was kind of like I definitely, hit the ground running, so to speak. I kind of went all out with it. We went pretty crazy with it. It was, streaming 5-6 days a week, 4 or 5 hours to basically myself and speaking to anybody that would come in. And that was pretty much it. And that's why I always tell people, I'm like, if you want to start streaming, and to get back to the original question, if you want to start streaming and this is something that you want to do, I think it's so important to do it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, Blue and XP and both of you guys, I've known you long enough now, and we've had enough conversations in person and through Discord, and just being in each other's streams and interacting. You can tell when somebody's here because they have a passion, because they love it, because they really truly at the end of the day, whether the camera's on or off, they want to be here, and they would have been flying anyways, right?
Yep.
That's what, like, truly I tell anybody. I'm like, if you want to do this, just you have to share your passion, because that's what people are going to be attached to. And you look at all three of our channels and all three of the success that we've had, we're all super passionate people. We don't, there's zero BS most of the time. We're not going to beat around the bush when it comes to add-ons and planes and developers and stuff like that. If it's not good, it's not good. We're going to say it.
Not good.
And that's what people, that's truly the way that I think you're going to be a successful streamer. Now, that being said, it was incredibly hard when we first started doing it, and I can only imagine how hard it would be now.
It's funny because you were talking about transition from X-Plane 10 to 11. I remember watching you, and one of the smart things I think you did, I consider it smart, and looking back at it, you basically took on YouTube versus going to Twitch, and we can even talk about that, because there was 1,000 guys on Twitch, as you said, Chewy, Bellings, Cats Raider, all them guys I used to watch as well. You were on YouTube, and what I loved about YouTube is that if you missed a stream or whatever, you can always rewind and go back. If you missed your landing, you can go back. Your recordings were there. Twitch, you had to have some special setup or whatever account to be able to do that. And with YouTube, I think you pioneered flight simming on YouTube. Now, there's people before you who did recordings and stuff, but you did a live stream thing. I remember being at work watching you going, dude, this guy is, so
thank you, man.
Why did you choose YouTube over Twitch? Let me ask you that.
You pretty much nailed it, man. And again, not to be not to be like full of myself or think like I had this master plan or something like that, but I'm a super analytical person. I will, that was probably my biggest flaw. Probably, if I could take anything back from doing this YouTube thing, it's the analytics. It's watching numbers and watching sub counts and watching. If I could take anything back and I could tell anybody, it's just chill, man. Like you watching the numbers and you stressing about numbers and watch time minutes and donations and all of the stuff. It's just there's nothing that you can do. It's completely out of your control. It really comes down to the community and the content that you put out, and you just have to be your best person. Essentially, you can't dwell on that type of stuff. And one of the biggest thing was analytically looking at it. I spent a lot of time, like XP said, I spent a lot of time on Twitch watching Jeff, Bellins, Cat Strader, Chewy. There's so many people, John Fly. There's so many people that I used to spend time watching. And I truly felt if I was going to make a name for myself and I was going to make a splash, if you will, in the community, or make not even a splash, but just make an experience that maybe people could remember that was a little bit different from what they were used to seeing on Twitch. I figured that at the time, YouTube had kind of just put out the streaming platform. For the longest time, streaming wasn't available on YouTube.
True.
It was just you're uploading content and that was it. And I remember YouTube, I saw the live streaming and you had to apply for it. I believe at the beginning you had to apply. You had to have a certain amount of subscribers. I think you had to have 1,000 or 1,500 subscribers back when they first introduced it. And I remember hitting that plateau. I believe it was 1,000. I remember hitting the plateau and being like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stream live, because that fact right there, nobody was doing it on YouTube. Absolutely nobody. There was no streamable content on YouTube. Now, definitely a huge shot in the dark for that fact is nobody else is doing it, right? There's the traffic that you're trying to, that's the one good thing about Twitch. And I will say that is the camaraderie, maybe, if you will. I don't even know if that's the right word, but just the way that Twitch works with the fact that, let's say I'm live and I'm going offline, I can then direct all of my viewers over to XP. XP finishes his stream, he can direct all of his viewers over to Blue. I think that's where YouTube really needs to start stepping up their game if they want this live streaming to actually be a thing in the future. There's a couple things we need. We need gifted members. That's, to me, I think that's the biggest wish list thing. Just like on Twitch, there's so much more community involvement when you can start gifting subscribers. You can start doing giveaways where you're gifting things to people that help. not only help your channel, but also help people in chat feel really good about it. And again, they get access to cool stuff and behind the scenes and custom emojis and member only streams and all kinds of cool stuff. So I feel like that's one thing. Yeah, it was just crazy, man. It was one of those, like I said, it was one of those shots in the dark that I said, okay, if you go on Twitch right now, there's literally 100 people streaming Flight Sim. And out of those 100 people, 95 of them are streaming for 5 or less people. And I said, I don't want to just fall into one of those categories where I'm one of those 95 people that can't go further. And it's not because the content's not good, and it's not because the effort value or the effort isn't there. It's just simply because you end up getting buried on top of people, on top. And that was truly it. I just said, if I'm going to do it, I feel like YouTube would be my best opportunity forward. There was a couple people doing it when I first started, but I mean, all of us, I think we were all, 1,300 subscribers, 1,500 subscribers. So we had no community pull. Nobody knew who we were. Nobody really had any interest. It was just like, oh, look at this guy. He's streaming on YouTube instead of Twitch. Like, maybe let's go check him out. That's kind of how I feel like it started in a sense.
I mean, as a side note, I was just thinking about it as you were talking. Would you say that with YouTube as compared to Twitch, I mean, apart from the YouTube algorithms, does YouTube reward better than Twitch as far as your hard work or your style or whatever it is to catch people? I'm not sure if I'm making sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I see what you mean. Yes and no. I feel like it's easier to maybe build a brand with yourself on YouTube because you can reach so many more people, whether you want to admit it or not. Twitch is Twitch, and it's a huge thing. It's a huge platform, but you are very limited to the amount of people that you can draw in. On YouTube, it's endless. One of your, like, a video, you hear about it all the time. A random video going viral on YouTube just through clicks or shares, or if somebody added it to Facebook and something got picked up on Facebook and something gets brought over. It's I feel like you can definitely make a name and a brand for yourself on YouTube, especially now with the tools that they've given us. I mean, XP can and Blue, I mean, both of you guys, we've been streaming for so long. I don't know about you, but like the transformation on the back end of YouTube over the past year and two it's night and day. The tools that we're getting as streamers now on YouTube platform, it's really starting to become a very, very viable, very easy to use, very direct and simple way to upload and create content for your community. And I think as long as YouTube keeps putting money and keeps putting research into the whole streaming aspect of it, I think that YouTube will for always be that the king for getting content out. There's nothing better on YouTube than finding, you can go and you can type anything and anything will pop up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think for me, just the fact that the reason, I mean, not to talk about myself, but the reason why I chose YouTube over Twitch, because I have a Twitch account as well. I streamed on Twitch one time, is because with someone with one sub, it gets recorded and you can play it back and other people can watch it. With Twitch, you don't have that until you hit a Twitch partner or whatever, and all this other stuff is harder to find. So, if you're an upcoming streamer, you want to stream, you can still put out a tutorial, or a scenery review or whatever, and that will build your audience and build you up, and then you can translate that into streaming live and stuff. So that's why for now, maybe Twitch will change it. I don't know, but YouTube is coming up in the game. So you're absolutely right, man. I think that's what it is. Definitely.
Yeah. And I've it's a funny little tidbit story, a little bit of maybe about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Twitch actually reached out to me, and they wanted me to actually start streaming exclusively on Twitch. And part of the reason that I actually said no to that was that they were going to restrict my YouTube content. They basically said, if you sign this contract, you are not allowed to put anything out on YouTube 48 hours until 48 hours after your last Twitch live stream.
Oh, wow.
And I contemplated it for a very, very long time because I said, well, maybe it would be beneficial to the growth of my channel. Now, this is back when I was, around 25,000 subscribers. So this was quite a while ago. It was about a year and a half ago. And they basically just said, like, we want you to come over to Twitch, but this is what needs to happen. And I just told them as simply and as nicely as I could, like, I'm not going to let you dictate and how I can run my YouTube channel because you guys want me to stream on Twitch. I'm very grateful. Thank you very much for wanting me to go over to Twitch and seeing the value in my channel and my community. But it just really, I'm not one for, I love organic content. I love being myself. I love just being able to turn the camera on when I want, you know, and be able to do that, be able to do after darks and be able to have a schedule. And we've gone over it before. I've explained it before, and XP and I have spoken about it before. Is I think the biggest thing is a schedule, man. Is if you really want to make a name for yourself and you really want, you just want the community, you just want an easy thing for you guys to find. You know, you don't want the community to have to guess when you're going to go live. And I understand some people have different schedules right around the world. Some people work shift work. Some people that we watch like V1 and those guys are real world pilots. They can't control when they get to go live, right? So we kind of just have to sit back and wait for their announcement, and then we go and we watch them, and then we take care of that, you know. But for people like you and I, everyday people that you know had a job and have a regular job, the easiest thing to do is just to have a schedule, have a time and a place where everybody knows that they can come and they can find you live. And whether they miss a week, it's okay. They know you'll be live next week, or they know you'll be live the next day. There's something I think that is big to that, when people can be like, okay, I know to find XP on, you know, XP schedule, Monday, Fridays, Sundays, whatever it is, you know, they know to find you there. And it's huge. It's absolutely huge if you can kind of, I wouldn't say market it, or, well, I guess you're marketing yourself. You're basically saying, you know, this is when I'm going to be live, please join me. And I think for myself, that was the biggest thing was getting a set schedule and having that down.
You know, look, you said the word marketing and you kind of step back from it. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it, because I'm realizing now, even though I have a full-time job, that it is marketing. And few people, well, there's people who stream just because they just want to stream. A few friends join and they fly and whatever. They're not looking to build an audience or whatever. But as human beings, we're trying to build our audience all the time. And if you say you're not, you know, you are. So you do market yourself. You do think about what time you go on. You do look and see if you're going to conflict with somebody else that's streaming. And that will happen from time to time, regardless of what you plan. But you just keep rolling. You try to find a slot for yourself. And you did find that slot, by the way. I'm telling you, your slot at midday, or back in the day. I knew that I could turn it on and go, all right, my man's going to be on right here. Let's go watch and see what's going on today. So that was a good movement.
Yeah, it was. Well, I tried. Here's the thing, again, coming down to like me just being that super analytical person, is I took a look at the analytics and I could see exactly what they said. And what they said was, you know, you're pretty much a 50-50 split between North America and European countries. I have a huge following, and that's why I do 1 week in North America, 1 week flying in Europe or overseas. And I kind of just played the analytics. I was, for whatever reason, I had a lot of fun doing that type of stuff. Looking at numbers and crunching numbers and doing that type of stuff is interesting to me, I guess. Some people probably don't find it very interesting, but you know, it's like I always tell people, when you turn a hobby into a job, there's certain things that I think you really have to start taking seriously, and analytics and numbers are one of those things for me, that it was very important that in order for me to sleep properly at night, I had to make sure that all my bills were going to be paid at the end of the month. I didn't want to start streaming and have to you know, go find another job 6 weeks later or 8 weeks later because I can't make rent 3 months into doing this streaming career. I'm very, very fortunate that I was able to do this and that I'm able to do this as a full-time job. It still completely baffles me that I've been given this opportunity, but at the same point, I look back and just even speaking with you and reminiscing about the startings and the beginnings of where this channel came from. It just makes everything I'm so much more thankful and that I've been giving this opportunity by the community, and it's crazy, man. It's a crazy ride.
Revel in it every day, because a lot of us out here would love to be able to do that, call our own shots, even though
Yep.
Well, as we talk about it, it's a lot of work that people don't see
It's
behind the
I
scenes.
Yep.
Though
I
it's a
truly
full-time job in itself. Yeah.
oh I truly wish, and you know what, man, maybe one day I will end up making a little bit of a series of kind of what it's like in the day of a streamer. You guys know, man, I cannot give you and Blue enough credit for what you guys do. The fact that you work all day and then you have to come home and you have to set up a stream, man, it's not only setting up the stream, it's being you, and it's being a presenter, and it's being XP72, and it's being Blue Games, and it's being Captain Canada. It's people don't understand just how draining it is to sit there and to read every single comment and answer every single question and do your best to do it with a, you know, like it's I can't give people enough credit, man. I really do. The guys that do this as like as a hobby and as a I used to do it. I know just how hard it is and just how much effort is required to put forth. So hats off to you guys, man. I don't know XP, especially for you, man. I know you get home like half hour before you start your stream sometimes,
Yeah.
and this guy's taken off, and then his camera's off. He's scarfing down his dinner, like, dude, this is commitment, man. This is I hope people realize the amount of commitment that goes into doing this type of stuff, and it's because we love it. It's because we wouldn't want to have. I wouldn't want to spend my days anyway. People ask me all the time, like, do you get bored? And I'm like, what the hell? I couldn't think of a better way to spend my afternoon sitting here, flying airplanes, doing something that I absolutely love, hanging out with a couple hundred people, just chatting. I mean, talking about food, talking about airplanes, talking about real life, talking whatever it is, you know, whatever it is. It's I have so much respect for you guys, man, and I have so much respect for everybody that does this.
Blue.
It's crazy.
Blue, tell the man how much we used to talk on the phone just on a regular day when we're at work about flight simming after we just flew the night before.
Yeah.
Tell him.
Yep.
I mean, we would call early in the morning, like early, and we'd be on the phone. I remember being on the phone with him on my whole drive to work. And then I get there and I realize it just happened a couple weeks ago. I was like, I forgot my freaking shoes.
Oh no.
We've been on the phone this whole time. But yeah, it's just like, that's again one of the other reasons we wanted to make this show too, was because like me and him, you know, and that's just two of us, right? It's just the two of us, just two flight simmers who love flight sim and aviation, just talking flight sim. You know, whenever some news comes out, like, oh, the I dropped this new thing, right? And XP has it and I don't have it. And I want to know what it's like, right? I want to get the real answer. I don't want to get the live answer. I want the real answer.
Exactly.
You know? And so you call your buddy on the phone and you talk, you know, and so it's how it is on here. But yeah, we talk so much, and just back to what you guys were saying about the setup. Again, I know XP will go live 30 minutes after, but I also know that the day before or like the night before he goes to work, he's like making a thumbnail. He's preparing, like, I mean, this is 24 hours before he goes live, you know? And I do a similar thing as well, where I'm like, all right, what am I doing this week? What am I doing tomorrow? What's my thumbnail going to be? I got to go in the sim and take a thumbnail picture, wait for Microsoft to load for 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of work goes into, you know, preparing live streams. That's actually a question I want to ask you, was because you've already kind of mentioned, you know, setting up live streams becomes a full-time job in itself. But like, what is your process? Like, say, you know, let's talk about, like, without giving anything away, let's talk about like next week, right? When do you start planning your Monday stream, or your, you know, what, like, how's that go?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm very much especially right now, there's so much. You guys know, I mean, I don't have to be. I've got the 340. I've got the Q400. I can't stream it. I can't showcase it. I can't. I'm not. I'm not even supposed to talk about it. But you know, there's so many things right now that are coming for X-Plane that it's during times like these that are just incredibly busy. I'm trying to fly everything and anything basically that I can basically get used to and feel comfortable flying these airplanes, for that when I do go live. A usual day for me and kind of the setup process, a lot of it has to do with like Discord and my community, to be honest with you. I rely a lot on them. I have a full section. I mean, you guys do too. I'm pretty sure you guys have a full section that's dedicated to the Discord where people suggest flights, and I skim through it all the time. I'm looking at it. I'm constantly keeping my eyes on it. I'm constantly monitoring it, and that's honestly how I get my ideas. As far as how my week goes, usually about a week in advance, I start prepping. I start planning. I start thinking about what the future is going to be. A lot recently, I really haven't been able to do that. I've kind of been bouncing between, we spent 3 weeks in X-Plane because I thought I was going to get the go-ahead from FlyJSim. So I basically kept flying X-Plane because I was like, okay, they're going to say, you can stream it, you can stream it, you can stream it. It never happened. I guess they ran into something needed to be fixed, something needed to be updated, whatever it was. I didn't get the green light from them. So now we're back in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I did this afternoon because I've just spent the last 3 weeks or a month in X-Plane. So we kind of rolling with the punches right now because a lot of it has to do with developers basically saying, okay, Cap, you can go ahead, you can do it, you can stream it, you can showcase. But yeah, on a regular day, it's wake up. Actually, I guess it starts the night before. You're 100% correct. The night before, I basically have my thumbnail. I have my stream, kind of the idea that I want to do for maybe the week or at least the next couple of days, and then we can decide in stream or with chat or whoever it may be. We can kind of decide together as a community where we want to fly. Usually starts the night before. That gets all done. I get all my peripherals out the night before. If I'm feeling like it and I have enough energy, I will do a flight usually right before bed, right before I go to bed. That the previous night, I'll either do one of the legs or I'll test some scenery, or sometimes even I'll just go and fly circuits. I'll just go to the airport and I'll load up in whatever aircraft we're doing, and I'll just fly circuits for an hour around the airport, landings, takeoffs, whatever, go rounds, missed approaches, whatever it may be. Then I wake up in the morning. Again, my routine, I have my breakfast. I take Daisy for an hour-long walk every morning. We go for our walk, our jog, whatever you want to call it.
Nice.
Come back, I have my lunch, and it's pretty much go time. My green screen does not stay up behind me. It's very unfortunate. I do have to take that down every single stream and every time.
Wow.
So the green screen goes in the corner. I live in a condo, so it's not the biggest. I don't live in a big house or anything like that. I live in a fairly modestly small size condo. And green screen goes up. I have 2 of the umbrella lights. I got 2 of the floor lights, the floodlights. They go on, and pretty much just testing for like the last, usually around 11 o'clock Eastern, 11:15. I launch the sim. I load in. I make sure everything looks good. Make sure chat's working. Make sure the stream's working. And then it's just that waiting game, which we were talking about in San Diego, that game that I hate playing, that sitting here twiddling my thumbs 15, 20 minutes before stream going like, okay, let's go. Because you have so much, right? Like I said, like you guys know, and I think you'll as young streamers are out there and stuff like that, you'll say that it gets to a certain point where you become a performer when you do this, right? Whether you want to admit it or whether you're not, when the cameras go on and the lights go on and you're there and you're talking with your community, there's some type of showmanship that goes on, right? And I think that's where you really start to see the success of channels, especially like with XP, especially like with Blue, especially with like V1 and Flight Deck to Sim, all those guys, all those awesome guys that stream now on YouTube. You really start to see it because they become a personality. They become somebody that you can just sit down and you can talk with for hours because they're that person that shares the same interest as you. They have the same thought process. They have the same interests as far as simulators and add-ons and everything, whatever it may be. It's truly awesome.
I mean, Gushy, I hate to say it, that nobody really wants to see your bad day. Whatever day you've been having before your stream,
you got it, man.
And also, they don't want to see it because you are the entertainment. Nobody watches TV anymore.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
You are the entertainment. You're the rerun. You're the live show. Yep. You're all of it. You are the person that picks their day up. Yep. So you better not come with a bad day. And also, getting to the point where it also changes your day too, because you know what? I'm gonna go do something that I love to do anyway.
Yep.
So let's go have some fun on this, right?
Absolutely. No, you nailed it 100%.
Yep.
100%. And that's why I have certain topics. I mean, I'm sure just like you guys, I have certain topics that are completely they're out of bounds on my channel. We don't talk about politics, we don't talk about race, we don't talk about anything like that, because at the end of the day, we're not there for that, right? We're there to share our passion for aviation and flight sim. And again, the perfect example, XP, you just nailed it. I think part of our job is to give everybody a release from the everyday, pardon my language, bullshit that happens in life, right?
Yeah.
We're a release. And as a content creator, that's kind of something that I feel like when you come to terms and you come to grips with that, I think doing this will make a lot more sense, because at the end of the day, you really do help a lot of people and you allow a lot of people to escape. Life is life, dude. Life is not, sometimes life can be amazing and sometimes life can be extremely down. And XP nailed it. When you're a streamer, you have to be that constant. You can't let people see that you're having a bad day, or if you are having a bad day, you gotta, pull up your bridges and get online and make it better.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly it. People rely on you for a source of entertainment and for a source of whatever it may be. Like I said, a release, something like that. So you're 100% right, man. You nailed it. Yeah.
Unless your simulator crashes 1 minute before the stream started.
Man. Oh man.
And then you're like, what the F? Yeah,
Oh,
it's
man.
true.
Let's not go there.
I know.
I know.
Look, speaking of simulators, man, we got to go here, bro. We got to go here because
let's go.
you called it earlier, but
yeah,
X-Plane 12 and Microsoft Flight Simulator, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my word. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I made a comment. Let me start it this way. I made a comment in my last 2 streams, even though they end up crashing at the end. I talk a lot of crap about Microsoft Flight Sim. I give them crap. And I still fly it. And people say, which is the better? I say, Microsoft is better. It's prettier. GA, X-Plane for airliner. However, since I got this new graphics card, it's a whole different ballgame.
It's life-changing.
It's life-changing. Like, if you get the right graphics card for Microsoft Flight Sim, your whole perspective starts to change. And I don't know what's happening to me. Anyway, go ahead, man. Jeez.
No, I've been trying to tell you. I've been trying to tell you.
It's very true, man. You're 100% right. It's all about the perspective, and even just adding 10 FPS, 15 FPS can make or break it when it comes to something like that. Absolutely.
But Microsoft dropped a bomb a year and so ago.
Yeah.
How was it for you? I mean, ever since. What do you think a year later?
I can't lie at all, man. I mean, my channel, I mean, I grew immensely. I think we gained, I forget what the number was. Somebody was telling me like something like 22,000 subscribers in less than 2 months.
Wow.
Because of Microsoft Flight Simulator, right? I mean, there was nothing else to it. It was I had the platform, I had the PC, and it was pretty much just showcasing the simulator to everybody knew that it was coming in. And yes, obviously I had, sitting at 40 something thousand, you have a name for yourself in the community, and I guess when people see a certain number of people in the stream, maybe they're more likely to join, just based off numbers and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, Microsoft Flight Simulator completely changed my outlook on simulators. I've kind of touched on it on my channel. I'll touch super briefly because I don't want to go in this huge rant. And Microsoft,
go there, bro.
It definitely changed my entire experience. Like I mentioned, I never really looked at Flight Simulator as like a whole evolving world until Microsoft Flight Simulator came out. And I think that is pretty much what they wanted to do with us flight simmers. X-Plane always gave me the love and the joy for flight simming, but it was because of the aircraft that I was flying.
Yeah.
I feel Microsoft Flight Simulator has kind of allowed me to enjoy the entire process of flying a little bit more instead of focusing just on the aircraft. I feel like the atmosphere and the clouds and the sunrises and the sunsets and everything that you see, the weather, everything that Microsoft Flight Simulator has done just insanely well. I think that's kind of where it's drawn me in. Whereas X-Plane, like I said, I'll always have a special spot in my heart for X-Plane, whether it's X-Plane 12, 13, 14. I truly feel I'll be an X-Plane user for a very long time. It's just Microsoft Flight Simulator made me feel and made me almost, I don't want to say it made me fall in love with flight simulation again, but I feel like it just gave me a completely different a feeling I hadn't ever felt in flight simulation before. It was a very almost like a love and hate, right? Because here we are a year later, we still don't have any real, true, proper airliners for us to fly. We've got the CRJ. We all know about the CRJ. We all know how quirky that one can be. We don't need to explain anything here. Exactly. So, we all know how that one can be. So, yeah, I love it. I hate it sometimes when it doesn't want to work, or it's something happens like this, but yeah, I truly think that Microsoft Flight Sim, I think it changed everybody's channel, and I truly think it changed everybody's I don't want to say if it changed their perspective, but I think it shifted the perspective maybe a little bit. It gave a lot of us flight simmers maybe a chance to realize, like, it's not always 100% about the how in depth we can get our payware airplane in X-Plane 11. I think it was more so a holy, look at how beautiful this world is. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of where I feel like it
got it. Actually, I got it perfectly. It perfectly. So here's what it is. I'm just thinking about as you're talking. Mm-hmm. X-Plane 11 got it to a point where the TOLUS just works. Yeah. Everything you throw at the plane, it just works, and you're immersed in the fact that they built this airplane and everything is good. And okay, the world is out there. You got your sceneries coming in. Microsoft, after you have it at the right FPS that it needs to be to run good, it's no longer just a plane. It's the whole environment. Yeah. So now you have a flight sim, but it's like an environment sim. It's like, holy crap, man, And I feel bad because, I'm an X-Plane lover. That's the first sim I ever had. I had an old Mac and it ran X-Plane. I couldn't do P3D or FSX. Mm-hmm. Those sims still exist? I don't know. Anyway, whatever. But, okay, I shouldn't have said that. But yeah, even previously, when I go into Microsoft and I try to fly the 7.8 and the 7.4, I was like, man, I just can't wait for these guys to drop something that we can actually fly and feel confident in, right? Yep. So I go back to X-Plane because X-Plane's got them. Yep. But now that I got the graphics card at A320 mod, it's doing what it's doing. You're like, holy crap! Can you imagine when Phoenix drops and PMDG drops? I don't know what's gonna happen, man.
I always tell people, I'm like, what a time to be alive. Like, there's really, the only thing that I feel bad for right now is everybody's wallets and everybody's bank accounts. That's the only thing I feel bad for right now. And, somebody asked me today in my stream, they were actually just like, what would you suggest? Do you suggest I get X-Plane 12, or do you suggest I get invested in Microsoft Flight Simulator? And I say, well, listen, man, I mean, perfect world, you can get invested in both, right? So I guess a little bit about the gentleman has all the add-ons for X-Plane 11. He was concerned that none of them would work with X-Plane 12. So which we do know now that all of our plugins from X-Plane 11 should work in X-Plane 12. So there really isn't there's no, we don't have to worry about paying for our add-ons again or buying our add-ons. We can feel confident enough in that everything should work, right? Except our Zebo mod. Yeah, well, so yeah, I mean, what a choice word to put that out. There's sometimes I sit there and I look at what these companies put out and I said, boy, you guys need some type of PR or something. Like,
it wasn't the right time, even if you wanted to
absolutely do it. Not. And the way that they did it, I mean, they under-delivered, in my opinion, and I've told them flat out, you guys know I work with TOLUS. I'm hand in hand. They under-delivered when it came to their promotional video that they put out there, and I really truly feel like there was a lot of criticism and a lot of negative feedback from that, and I don't blame the community for getting upset with what they've shown. It was not up to standard and not up to par, not as far as TOLUS goes, in my opinion, to the 319 and the 321. But yeah, it's
man.
It needs some PR, man.
I still think, though, when I'm gonna wait until X-Plane 12 drop to even make another further prediction on anything. We've seen what we've seen with the weather, with the clouds, with the water, with the rain, with the seasons, with all that stuff, the wind. The only thing that, of course, they're gonna miss is ortho, because I just don't think Laminar wants to spend the money for ortho, and I don't know if it's gonna even benefit them. Microsoft's got the ability to do it because they own it. And they can stream it to you whenever you want, which is a great thing. I heard Blue say it all the time. Blue goes, I can load up in any airport anywhere in the world. I don't have to worry about downloading ortho.
Yep.
You know, it's such a game changer, right?
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
we'll see what X-Plane 12 looks like when it comes out. As you said, all the planes are going to work, but you know, man, I wouldn't want to be in their spot right now. Seriously.
It's a tough spot to be in, man. And I think at the end of the day, you're gonna have the realists in us, which are just gonna believe, you know, listen, it's Laminar Research, it's not Microsoft, right? We can never expect what Microsoft delivered as far as ortho and photogrammetry and all that stuff. We can never expect that to come from X-Plane. That's not in their budget. I don't even think Laminar Research is worth enough money to even fund something, you know, that would have to fund something like that. I don't think they have enough monies. There's not enough zeros in their bank account to fund how much money and how much resources and how much coding and everything that would require to do something like that. But at the same point, I think what we need to do is we need to listen. Microsoft Flight Simulator is pushing X-Plane right now at this point, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Like XP just said, let's wait and let's see what they truly deliver us. Have any of us really been impressed with what they've shown so far?
No,
I really haven't. I mean, we got to fly the simulator in San Diego. We're not under any NDA. We got to fly it. You got to fly it. Listen, man, I wasn't impressed at all.
The changes they needed to make anyway.
No,
those are the changes that they needed to make.
Yeah, and
that's what we expected. So
yeah, and I feel like in the long run, maybe X-Plane will get there. Are we going to hit every? Are we going to get everything that we need out of X-Plane with this next current version? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. X-Plane's too small of a development group to give us, I think, everything that we expect. But what we expect out of X-Plane is if we're going to get more iterations, if we're going to get an X-Plane 12, if we're going to get an X-Plane 13, we need to see at least enough changes in the simulator, you know, to warrant these big time upgrades and these pay, you know, this buying a new simulator. And listen, I'm the first one. We've had X-Plane 11 for 4.5 years now. We haven't been charged a single update, and I can thank Laminar for that. And the life of X-Plane has it's changed quite a bit, man. If you look at X-Plane, you know, 11.00 to whatever we're at now, X-Plane 11.55, it's like we have a whole new simulator. And without going into detail and without going and talking about the other simulators, P3D, we know we would have been charged how many times now if this was a P3D pay model? You're going at least 5 times, because if you go with a P3D scheme of, well, every time a 0.1 version comes out, essentially, we probably, you know, in a P3D world, we would have had to have bought X-Plane 11 5 times from now. So kudos to Laminar and kudos to them for continuously fixing the sim and making the sims better. But yeah, I agree with XP. I'm not happy with what we've seen so far, and I don't really feel like putting a judgment out there is really necessarily the right idea right yet. Way too early in the development process to be saying, oh, X-Plane 12, nope, it's not going to be any good. I think we need to give them time. I think we need to let them iron everything out and work on the details. And but the future is bright, man. Microsoft Flight Sim, X-Plane 12, both of them. I mean, if all of our add-ons are going to work for X-Plane 11, there's really no reason for us not to get X-Plane 12, right? As hardcore sim enthusiasts and people who have supported X-Plane for me since X-Plane 9, X-Plane 9, 10, and 11 I've owned. I'll be supporting 12 and I'll be getting it, and I'm fingers crossed that everything's going to work. I believe at one point in time, they also said the same thing coming from X-Plane 10 to X-Plane 11, that everything was going to work. And then we got hit with $20 upgrade fees from everything, but we'll see. We have to wait and we have to see, man. We can speculate, but we don't really know, right?
Yeah, the transition is going to happen to one sim when you can get your A300 INI builds in Microsoft Flight Sim, right? You can get your MD-80s, similar quality that's rotate. Those are the planes that are not the 737 and the A320. They still are fun planes to fly, man. You understand? They're still a fun planes to fly in X-Plane. So, you know, X-Plane 12 is a mandatory requirement at this point. Now 13, yeah, exactly. We don't know. By that point, every developer should be on Microsoft by then, and you know, we'll see what they come with. But let me ask you this: how many times in chat have you been asked why you don't fly P3D? Why don't you fly P3D?
I get asked probably actually every single stream. I would say at least 1 or 2 times I get asked why I don't fly P3D. simple story. I mean, it's actually funny. We touched over that today on my stream. Was I was heavily debating P3D. Believe it or not, I was at that point where I was heavily debating P3D, and almost that same month where I was breaking down numbers. I mean, I remember being in voice chats with Schmitty and Dan, and just trying to figure out how much money I would have to put forward in order to get a viable streamable experience, right? And that's the keyword, streamable experience. Yeah. I'm not saying that this is the way that everybody has to go going into P3D, but as a streamer, people expect a certain, they expect us to have certain aircraft, payware aircraft. They expect us to have certain scenery. They expect us to have certain add-ons that make the simulator, you know how it goes. I don't need to explain it. And that's exactly when I sat down and I looked at it, it was over $1,000 basically to get, the PMDG 777, the 7.3, the FS Labs series, the quality wings, Orbex Global, get 20, 30 airports that you can payware add-on airports that you can fly to for the first whatever X amount of months. You can kind of get your feet wet when it comes to P3D. It was crazy. And then almost at that same time, Microsoft Flight Simulator dropped the bomb on us, where they invited all those content creators out and they did that whole thing, and it was like, oh, okay, well, wow, I dodged a bullet there, because I was
$50 gave you all of that.
Yeah, exactly, and that was it. So I said, okay, well, and then it was kind of, is it viable? I had a lot of battles with myself. Is it viable to do two different platforms on a sim channel? I've built my entire channel off of X-Plane. How will my X-Plane viewers react to me flying Microsoft Flight Simulator? There was a lot of internal debates that had to go on with myself, and I had to kind of try and figure out if this would be worth it for the channel. But I came to this balance of, I'm not going to compare either sim. I'm not going to tell people which sim I prefer enjoying. I love both sims, and I've explained why I like Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've explained why I like X-Plane. I think they're, in a perfect world, we can have X-Plane aircrafts in a Microsoft Flight Simulator world and environment. But I truly believe in due time we'll have all of that in both sims. X-Plane will be able to offer that. I mean, look at X-Plane alone with this enhanced skyscapes.
Oh yeah,
it's completely changed. Changed my experience. I wanted to go to fly I wanted to go move to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2 weeks ago when we came back from the expo. I wanted to jump back in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I couldn't, because I was so in love with the clouds and how everything was looking in X-Plane that I said, all right, no, we're going to spend a couple more weeks here in X-Plane, because I am truly enjoying this experience. And it's crazy how one little thing in the simulator can just add so much immersion and so much joy into flying the sim again. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that enhanced skyscape just made it just was a game changer.
Oh, it's crazy, man. Crazy.
Yep. Out of nowhere, it just came on like, what? What is this? Where did you come from? We've been looking at billboards for 5 years.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
Real clouds, and it doesn't hit your FPS. It doesn't hit your frames at all. So
if you're running in Vulkan, I haven't really noticed anything. I've spoken about, if you're running OpenGL, it definitely pulls a little bit on your graphics card. But if you run Vulkan, like I'm pretty sure 90% of us do now, absolutely zero hit to the performance. None.
All right. Let me ask you about user requests, because there's a certain plane that I just will not fly. The community donated it to me. I have it. I looked at it. I sat in the cockpit and go, I just don't want to fly this plane. And I told him I'm not. What about you? Is there any planes that you just won't fly no matter what on the Western?
Yes and no. I know exactly which plane you're speaking of, and I'm right there with you, my friend. Because guess what? Guess who also hasn't flown that plane yet? And guess who has also been given the monies to go and buy said airplane and still does not own that airplane? Yeah. I'm a firm believer of. I always try and say never, right? I kind of grew up with that. I've been instilled that by my family. I grew up with a crazy, very, very close family, Irish and English and French. So very close family, very, very tight knit family. My grandfather growing up, the same one that got me into flight simulators, was you always have to try something in life. If you don't enjoy it, you never have to try it again. And he was like that with food. I can't tell you the amount of food that I've had to try, intestines, livers, testicles, all kinds of food, because this man was just a crazy foodie and a chef and enjoyed everything. And just, you know, you have to try it once, and if you don't like it, we'll never make you eat it again. We'll never make you fly it. We'll never make you do anything. So I'm a huge advocate of that. I always say that on my channel. Just never say never. So that being said, I am very much a I'm very much a modern pilot. I very much like my modern flight decks. I am, for whatever reason, I have very little to no interest in flying like military type aircraft, helicopters. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about aviation. I've just never really had a desire or an interest to learn. And it's not like it's not like I don't think I can't learn those types of things. I think we've all shown, if we sit down and we spend an hour or two, I'm pretty sure with the knowledge that we have, we can learn something with the amount of tutorials and the amount of other great content creators that are out there streaming these stuff or creating content for this stuff. It's it's a tough one to get me enthused about stuff like that. I don't know what it is. That's probably my no-go. But again, I have the thing where I never say never. So I always, there will always, I think, come a day where I'm going to say, okay, you know what? I've flown the 737. I've flown the 319. We got to jump in the DC-6, or we got to jump in this helicopter. We got to do it. I think it inevitably will happen.
But one of these days, man, you're going to wake up one morning and go, you know what? I want to fly in Bolivia and fly over the mountains in the canyons and go land on a small strip somewhere.
That's it.
They still do it in the real world. So
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like the GA stuff, right? Too. Like, you guys know, I'm not, again, kind of the commercial airplanes is where I'm at. That's kind of where I've made my name flying. That's kind of what I'm used to flying. But again, I've found out that a lot of people really do enjoy like the general aviation stuff, and they really do enjoy just jumping on Microsoft multiplayer and doing these community fly-ins and stuff like that. So I've really, kind of stepping out of my comfort range, because that's not like, that type of flying doesn't interest me, right? That low and slow, take 3 hours to go 100 miles. That's not my type of that's not my type of flying. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess I'm the only one. I mean, come on.
But you know what? Like, the people love it, right? And the community loves it, and the community response that I get when I do these types of general aviation fly-ins and stuff. The community, and what I'm saying is, the community in a sense has made me kind of fall for some of these things that I previously didn't enjoy. So I'm hoping in the long run, for those aircraft that I don't enjoy flying or anything like that, the community can be persuasive enough or make the experience enjoyable, that will end up doing that. Because XP, trust me, man, I know, man, listen, there's nothing more scary when you've got 300 plus people sitting there watching, and you're fumbling, and you've got 50 people trying to give you instructions, and everybody's trying to tell you something different, and you want to take the time and you want to thank everybody for what they're doing, but at the same point, it's doing absolutely no good for you as a streamer, except making your blood pressure through the roof.
And you sweat.
And you exactly.
True.
So,
I mean, like, a plane like that requires a learning curve that you're going to have to put aside a couple of weeks and know it properly to present it. Because guess what? We're presenters, and we want to present the best things all the time. Never always turn out that way, but at least we try. You understand? So to jump in a cockpit that is basically foreign to anything that you ever known, and to try to, it's like, oh my God. And then you're only going to go from Fort Lauderdale to Tampa in an hour and a half when you could have been in New York the same time. It's like, come on,
Oh, you guys are funny.
Teetering along at 10,000 feet.
Come on, what my
shout out to
aviation
Two-Tone Murphy,
at?
by the way. Yeah, shout out to Two-Tone Murphy. Two-Tone Murphy, by the way, as a streamer, is the only one I see is a GA guy, and when he flies, he's got 100 people flying with him. Shout out to Two-Tone Murphy. Good. That
was like Two-Tone. He's over on Twitch. I've watched him a couple times, and that was like Cat's Raider too. I remember watching Cat's Raider back in the day. This guy, he would fly on Pilot Edge, and Pilot Edge is a you guys know Pilotage is a no joke network, but
Yep.
he would be on Pilot. I remember he used to do Friday nights back before I started streaming. I used to spend my Friday nights watching, and he would have 20, 30, 40 GA guys on the Pilotage network flying with him. And I always just was like, okay, this is cool. You know what I mean? Like, because not only that, and half the time because he was also flying little business jets, right? And he was going up to 45,000 feet, Mach 0.72, little biz jets and stuff. I could get on board with something like that. But the low and the slow and the I mean, listen, we've got our hands full having to learn the Q400 now coming. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I had minimal to no understanding of how a prop system works and a constant prop and any of that stuff. So you're in for a treat when it comes to the Q400, because it's, again, the FMC is like nothing you've ever handled, at least for me in flight sims. It's something completely brand new, and same as the engine controls and having to control that stuff. So it's
if you're flown GA, it might be less of a learning curve. Even the DC3, I'm still throwing it out there.
Actually, I've seen Blue do some GA streams as well, where there's quite a few people just hanging out with you and landing in some remote island somewhere. So
usually on top of a snow-capped mountain.
More props to you, man, for going out there and not doing the rest of what we all do. But definitely. I mean, I would be remiss to not ask you this though. I mean, how do you deal with the negative side of streaming? And this basically comes from idiot people anyway.
Yeah,
but how do you deal with
that's a good question. Inevitably, as your channel grows, especially being somebody that makes their full-time living off of creating YouTube videos and being a streamer, there's definitely going to be some animosity. There are definitely going to be some people that feel like you are not deserving of the situation and the position that you are in. Honestly, that's a great question, XP, to be real, because I feel like at certain points in my flight sim career or my streaming career, there's been some low moments where sometimes you take maybe to heart a little bit too much what some people are saying about you or your channel. At the end of the day, the reality of it is I kind of just look at the positives. I look at how many people are subscribed to my channel, and I look at how many people are members, and I look at how many people I've got in my Discord channel, and I remember that out of all the negativity, the one or two messages of negativity, there's 60-something thousand plus subscribers that have my back, and they're here for me, and they're here because they enjoy watching my content. And I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes doing this streaming, whether it's been made public or not. You guys know there's been mistakes that have been made, and I was the first person to sit there and say, you know what, I was the one that screwed up, and it's on nobody else, and it's under my control, and I was the reason that things got like this. And I think it's extremely important to just remember all the positives. There will be negatives no matter what you do in life, right? No matter what you do, you turn a hobby into a job, there's negatives that are going to come out of it. You're going to be a content creator. You're putting your entire personality, your entire life, you're pretty much putting it out there for anybody to see, anybody to comment on, anybody to make. You're fat, you're ugly, you're bald, you wear glasses, you have a beard, you got gray hair, whatever it is, right? You're constantly you're leaving yourself open for constant criticism. And I think as a streamer, you end up just building almost like this Teflon skin where it says, you know what, at the end of the day, everybody that's hanging out in chat and everybody that's got all these positive things to say, those are the people that you focus on. And that, I think, is the main focal point. It sucks that we live in a world where people need to make you feel bad for doing something. I always tell people I never ever started doing this for money. I never once started streaming thinking that this would become a job. These are things that I think just happen when you make the right decisions and you go about things the right way. I sat here for months and months and months, and I kept a part-time job while making enough money to support myself on YouTube. I kept a part-time job for 6 months because I was so insecure. I was so insecure about it. I didn't want to take the full step I wanted to always have that cushion and but I got too tired. It was too much. It was too much to do the streaming. It was too much to then go work on the overnights or whatever, the shift work that I would have been doing. It was just too much. And I truly figured, I said, you know what, with all the haters and everything, I at least owe it to myself to try and do something like this, because at the end of the day, there's not a lot of people that get the opportunity that we're in, or that I'm in, where you get to call this a job, and you get to work from home, and you get to, you know, have this unbelievable setup, and you get to work with companies like Thrustmaster and Honeycomb and all of those things, man. Sometimes you just got to take a shot, and no matter what you do in life, there will always be haters, right? There will always be haters. It's how you take the adversity and you go with it. For myself, I kind of use it as fuel. I kind of use it as ammo. When I see somebody that has something negative to say, you know, instead of getting upset, I think about that, and I think about, okay, from their perspective, if they were to look at me and this is what they see, maybe I do need to change something. Maybe I need to be a little bit more friendlier to people who are new to the hobby and coming into my streams, or you know, sometimes it's good to take different perspectives. Some people are just really terrible and really mean at expressing things, you know. So
let me jump in and say this.
Yeah.
Anybody out there who wants to stream, wants to know what's going on with streaming or whatever, you happen to be the guy that there's no blueprint before you, especially on YouTube. You are the blueprint. So you're literally making it up as you go along.
Yeah. No,
we afterwards get to see, okay, you did this. Okay, all right, so we could do that too, or we could do it differently, or whatever. You know, we get to watch the guy at the top and go, all right, we're going to do this, but we're not going to do that because that created that. But you are setting the trend out there ahead of everybody else. So mistakes are going to be made. That's just normal, because there's nobody else out there that's doing it that way. You know what I'm saying? And also for the haters, it benefits you if you want to get into this game to look at what the leader is doing and say, okay, I like that. Take it. You know what I mean? Don't hate all the time. And also, don't leave a comment on somebody's channel that goes, I got this comment the other day, it goes, you still feel so bad for yourself, you're taking money from children. I was like, what? Oh, bro. Yeah, that was a comment.
You don't understand how many times it's... I'll never understand. I'll never understand how us will, like, you know, the fact that people willingly want to donate and help support us and help support what we do. And then you have the other extreme on the end that, exactly like what you said, think that we're taking money from people, or that a membership is some type of ploy to get money out of people. And it's, listen, man, I'm here and I'm providing a service, whether you want to look at it like that or not. I'm providing a service at this point. And I think that's where it's, again, do I feel like I need to be paid for my time? No, I don't think I will ever feel like I need to be paid to turn my camera on and to stream what I love doing. Is getting paid from doing this a plus and a bonus out of doing it? Absolutely. Absolutely it is. And I'm forever grateful. I say it at the end of every single one of my streams. To all my mods, my donators, my sponsors, I am forever grateful for what you guys do to my channel. It's without those people, and without the people that want to see you succeed and enjoy you enough to want to help your content, you know, you owe it to them to continue doing what you do, and to keep building forward, and to keep pushing through, like you said, the haters and the people that just don't understand it. And it's unfortunate. There seems to be a lot of people that just don't understand it. But at the end of the day, we do it because we love doing it, and I can understand how some people can watch it and they may not understand it. You don't need to understand it. You don't have to hate on somebody because you don't understand it, right? And I think that's really what it comes down to. That's the main thing I find, is just because people don't understand like what a membership is, or why people donate, that doesn't mean that, like, you know, we deserve hate on that. It's not like I'm, you know, sitting here with my hand out saying, okay, guys, if you want me to go live next week, I need to get $100 worth of donations. Like, that's not it at all. Like, that's not it at all. And
for me, like, I canceled my cable subscription a long time ago. I don't have cable, but I am subbed to a bunch of streamers.
Absolutely.
You understand? Because they provide me entertainment. You know, I get to watch them. I get to see what their production is and all that stuff. And I support what they do, because I understand it takes time and effort for these people to do these things. They just don't roll out the bed and it's done. You know what I mean? I don't know how Blue does it. Blue edits videos, man.
Yeah.
Blue, I don't know how you do it, man. I can't do it.
I always give so much kudos to Blue, man. I always say Blue makes some of the best. When he does his unboxing videos and stuff like that, I don't watch that type of content. Usually for me, I'm more of like a live stream guy. I love having the interaction, but I've watched every single one of Blue's unboxing videos. Anytime he does a review on a product, I'm watching Blue. It's either I'm watching Blue, or previously, before I found Blue's channel and stuff like that, I was watching Q8 Pilot Osama, which I still watch too. Because his tutorials or his not tutorials, but his first looks and the stuff that he does, it doesn't get better than that. You know what I mean? And the same goes for Blue with his. I've told Blue, I told him, I said, man, your unboxing game and this type of stuff, like, this guy gets hundreds of thousands of views on. That doesn't happen just for, that doesn't happen for no reason. Like, it happens because he puts amazing effort and content out there, and people are very receptive when they can just, like when somebody can click on a video and we're into the video and they're already looking at what they're there to look at, like Blue does. It's a game changer, man. People aren't there to like see a life story and this and that. If they wanted to watch that, they would go watch that somewhere else, right?
A 10-minute intro, yeah, man. No.
That's it.
How do you handle the flight requests from Hawaii to Sydney?
Oh, boy.
Somebody says, hey, can you fly this route? How do you handle that flight request?
Like, here's the thing. So a lot of people, I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of people kind of have this negative perception about my YouTube chat and my channel because my moderator group is, I don't know. I've been around, I've seen other streams, and I will admit that our chat and my moderators, that they do not put up with anything. And I love those guys, and they do such a good job because they know that my workload, especially being a single pilot flying on VATSIM or flying on Pilot Edge, when I look over and I see comments in my chat, they want it to be the cleanest possible, at least for me to go through and have to, I can run through, 15, 20 chat lines and not have, just mumbo jumbo and crazy stuff just in there with flight requests. And I've always told people, and I have 100 shortcut commands for my channel, 199 to be exact. Wow. I get in shit all the time from Schmitty and Dan and Sonny. They're always telling me, clean it up. You don't need that many. Clean it up. Do this, do that. And I'm like, guys, listen. Here's the thing. I like having shortcut commands and keys for all of these stuff, so that if anybody has a question, if anybody has a comment, anybody has a concern, all you have to do is exclamation point and whatever it is, whatever the command is in chat, and you've got what you need right there. How we deal with it.
What? Hold on. You've spoiled them, because you know why? I see them come to my chat,
mine too,
whatever, and it doesn't work.
Apologies.
I'm like, where'd you guys get this exclamation point stuff from? I only have like 5.
Right. And here's the thing too, you have to understand, right, is as somebody that's been doing this for so long, the amount of times that I've been asked the same question. So anytime you see that I have a command built into my channel, it's genuinely because I've been asked the question probably over 1,000 times, and we just have this little we have the little blurb of information, exclamation point PE, for example, in chat will give you the Pilot Edge website and gives you a little blurb of information about Pilot Edge. So that way people don't constantly come in chat and they're like this, that, or this, that. Now, that being said, I feel like in the community, my chat and my moderators kind of have a bad rap. Maybe not a bad rap, but I feel like we're more of one of the more strict channels, if you will, as far as what we allow in the chat and what we don't allow in the chat. So everybody's going exclamation point scenery, exclamation point, exclamation 12. These guys, dude. These guys, man. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It's just that we're not, my moderators aren't being mean. I'm not being mean. It's just we're trying to we're trying to limit the chat box because there are so many chat lines. XP, I know you see it, man. Your channel's been blowing up. I know you see it at the end of the night when you remove your Nightbot and you see 3,700 chat lines and you go, that's why my head hurts. You know what I mean? It's you try and get to every single question, and when half of the questions are just either spam or a question that you've already answered 5 minutes ago, or a question that you've answered 5 times already in your live stream, you can understand how the moderators maybe get, okay, we're going to remove that comment. Okay, we're going to put you in a timeout because you've asked 5 times already, and clearly you don't understand that we have these commands, and we're going to explain it again that we have all these commands for you. It's I've given.
Are you a real pilot?
Yes, exactly. And I've always been very, very like communicative with my moderators. If there's something that they're doing that I don't like, trust me, I'm the first one to explain it to them after the stream, during the stream. We have this stance where we just don't have time for the garbage and whatever that gets thrown in chat. There's not enough time in a live stream to get through all of that stuff. So to answer your question, a lot of it actually gets removed by the moderators. I very thankfully, I don't get a lot of stuff that I have to remove myself, or I have to look and look at the question and go, what is this? Like, where is this coming from? Where did that? So I'm very thankful I've got a good group of guys that kind of understands the questions that need to be asked during the stream, and more so the questions that need to be answered and stuff like that. 12 cut being one of them. He's right there. I see him putting his ponder face. So yeah, he's the best. So yeah, that's kind of how we approach the situation. It's kind of the moderators know they're going to allow questions through that are flight simulator or aviation questions. They're not so much going to and they know any flight suggestions. They'll we have a command, it's exclamation point, and then you put their name, and then you type it, and then Nightbot even tags them in a message, and it says, at any point, if you would like to see Captain fly somewhere, please join the Discord and put it in the appropriate section. Now, 95% of the kids or the people, I'm going to say kids, they're probably not kids, some are kids, who knows. 95% of the people don't read that, right? They don't look into that. They don't know what Nightbot is. They don't want to join Discord, and I understand that. I don't expect everybody to join my Discord just to put a flight suggestion in there, but there's other ways around it, right? There's I'm sure you get bombarded as well. You stream, and
yeah, absolutely.
People don't understand. There has to be some method to the madness, right?
Yep. Absolutely. All right, let's go in a different direction since we got you here. Favorite plane to fly on stream?
Oh, geez, favorite plane to fly.
They ask me that all the time. I just had to ask you it because I don't answer that question at all.
I really think it depends what simulator we're in.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going with X-Plane, if I gotta be honest with you, man, I think it really depends. Like I'm a very much like, I really get into flying an airplane for a couple months, and then I kind of get into flying a different airplane. If we're in Microsoft Flight Simulator, obviously it's the A32NX mod all day long. It's hands down the best aircraft in my opinion, available, other than the CJ4 mod. I've heard really good things about that one. If I'm in X-Plane, that's where it gets tough, man. It gets really tough.
That's why I asked the question, because I know it's tough.
Yeah,
I can answer it.
So if let's say stream wasn't a thing, and I just wanted to go flying, I'm gonna probably fly the Zibo, to be honest with you. If stream wasn't a thing and I just wanted to go flying, I truly I'm so in love with the entire Zibo project, just because I was so against it at the beginning. I'll never forget my friend telling me, hey man, there's this free 737 for X-Plane. I remember laughing and oh man, like this isn't going to be worth my time. I'm not putting that on stream. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. And it turns out to be one of my favorite airplanes. I've probably got 1,000 hours flying the Zibo alone in X-Plane 11. You know what I mean? It's one of those airplanes where
did Zibo save X-Plane, or did Zibo save X-Plane? I think he did.
I mean, I think Zibo was definitely one of the developers to save it. And I again, just to touch base on that super quickly, I think X-Plane's going to continue to be that simulator as long as these third-party developers stay making content for it. As long as we've got the FlyJ Sims, as long as we've got the Toluses, as long as we've got I&I, as long as we've got Flight Factor, I don't see X-Plane going anywhere. Though maybe it won't be as popular. Maybe X-Plane 12 or X-Plane 13 may not reach that pinnacle of popularity the way that X-Plane 11 did, but I forever see X-Plane being a contender in this game. I don't see X-Plane going anywhere. I really don't.
Yep.
I agree.
Developers keeping it alive. Absolutely. Definitely keeping it alive.
Yeah.
But, how do we as streamers talk for 4 or 5 hours straight? How do we do it? That's another question, man.
Great question.
I think we're just so used to it. And honestly, the big thing is our passion, to be honest with you. The passion. The passion and just our love for aviation. I think that's what allows us to sit here and to chat and to just hang out. I truly believe without the passion and without the love, I don't think I could do this. I don't think I could do this as a full-time job. I don't think I could pursue this as a career. I don't think I could have the community and the channel that I have without the passion and without the love for it. That's for sure.
Which leads me to another question. Do you ever worry about, I don't see it happening, but do you ever worry about burnout at all?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely.
How do you manage that?
Burnout?
How do you manage? How do you imagine not? Have you had it, and how do you imagine not having it?
Yeah. So, have I had it? I don't. That's a tough question. I don't feel like I've come fully had it. You know what I mean? I've been fortunate enough to where I feel like if I'm getting to a point, that I'll take a vacation or I'll take a break. You know what I mean? It's very difficult, I find, or sorry, not difficult. It's fairly easy to get yourself burnt out from doing this. There's no, I tell people all the time, I say, you know, if you're just doing flight sim streaming and you don't have a group of friends around you that does it, or you don't watch any streamers, or you don't watch any content creators, it makes it very lonely, man. It really does. It really does. You know, flying by yourself from point A to point B, there's only so much that you're going to be able to do that, right? There's only so much that you're going to want to do that by yourself. Now, if you had a group of friends that you're doing that with, where you kind of, you know, 1 week XP chooses where we're flying, 1 week Blue chooses where we're flying, 1 week Captain chooses where we're flying, you know, or not even that, just different days of the week, you have your friends that you're flying with, that you're doing stuff like that. I try my best to keep myself, how do I say this? I put a lot of time in my streams and I put a lot of time in the flight sims, but I also know exactly where to draw the line and when to draw the line, if that makes sense. Because yes, to answer your question, I have absolutely burned myself out in the past, 100%. There was a point where I was streaming 5 or 6 days a week, and it got to a point where I had no life outside of sitting in this chair, being on my computer. I had nothing. I had Daisy, and I would, you know, walk her in the morning and walk her at night, but that was it. So very easy to burn yourself out. I find having a perfect balance, having a hobby outside of doing flight sim, having somewhere that you can go, or a friend's house. Or here's the thing with me is I don't really have any of my real life friends. They're not really, nobody is really interested in this, right? I'm the only person out of all my friends that shows any interest in this. I have 2 real world friends who are pilots that I grew up with. Now, obviously, they don't have time for simulators because they're flying real planes, right? The simulator is, they look at simulators as training tools, and they have to go to their simulator once a year to stay current. And that's how they look at simulators. They don't look at simulators the way that we do, where it's kind of like a mix of passion, fun, and training and learning. And for them, it's work. You go into the simulator, and I'm going to work to do that. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I find having 2 simulators now, it's a really nice balance, because I find myself, if I'm getting burnt out in one sim, I can jump into the other sim, and it kind of has a different effect on me, as the same as I was saying, like, the way that Microsoft Flight Sim now, like the atmosphere and just flying in that simulator feels so good. Just wing views, looking at the clouds, looking at the ortho, looking at everything. It's beautiful. And then again, when I start getting that deep down, okay, I really want to go fly a jet with a proper FMC or a McDo, and I want to rely on an LNAV and a VNAV, well, I can go into X-Plane and I can get that, right? I can fly the 7.5, the 7.6, the 7.3, the 319, the 321, the 350. It's endless what I can go and fly in X-Planes. So, yeah, that's kind of how I deal with that. And to anybody in chat, if you're ever dealing with a burnout, find a community, man. Doesn't have to be my community, doesn't have to be XP's, doesn't have to be Blues. We're not saying that. But find yourself a community that you can be a part of. And I guarantee you, if you're ever having flight sim blues, or you're ever feeling like you're getting burnt out from flight sim, being part of a community can really, really improve how your outlook is on a simulator and stuff like that.
I got no time for burnout. Between talking to Blue, Captain Geo, HD Sim, CJ Hollister, and when I figured I flew every airport and every scenery, and they go, "Oh, by the way, did you see this just came out? Yep. You got to get it." I'm like, "No, man, I don't want it." "No, you have to get it." It's like, "Oh, Jesus, here we go again." And next thing you know, Geo makes me spend more money on simulator than anybody else. He's the one who made me get this damn new computer here that I have.
Attaboy, Geo.
Exactly, So he's saying, Blue, you need to get into the 30 series graphics card mod, man. You gotta get up there.
Someday.
Yeah. Man. How's the 3080 Cap? How is it?
It's good, man. I mean, you guys know it was a struggle to even get it. I was on a wait list for I believe it was just over 6.5 months, just under 7 months. So basically they took payment, and it was it was just sitting and waiting. Funny story about it is I originally ordered an ASUS TUF 3080. That was the one that I had pre-purchased. And after 6.5 months, they called me up, the store that I had made the purchase on, and they said, "We have a EVGA 3080. Is this okay? Are you okay with that? Because this is all we have in stock, and we have no clue when we're getting more." And I took it, and and I don't know if you guys remember, I got in my car, I drove 3 hours, went to go pick it up. Had to go. I actually met, huge shout out to Alex Sue. I don't know if you guys know Alex Sue. Great guy in the community. He's part of $0 Payware.
Oh, nice.
Great guy. Great guy.
Great sceneries, man.
Yes,
oh my God, for free.
Yeah, so he lives in Toronto, and that's actually where I bought the graphics card from. So he actually, instead of having to make me drive 5.5 hours, he very, very thankfully met me halfway. Basically, we met at a little small town. And I bought him dinner, and he charged his Tesla. I think it was just an excuse to go drive his Tesla, but such a cool car, man. Such a cool car.
Oh, man.
That's community, man. That is community.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. He's an absolutely awesome person, man.
Yeah, I mean, I met you at Flight Sim Expo in 2019, and then just a couple of weeks ago, and just meeting up with you guys who do the same thing I do, because nobody else outside of this circle don't even give a crap.
Nope.
You know what I mean? It's just so awesome, right?
Yeah,
it's just so awesome.
That,
and as you said about community, getting to share and see and talk. So even if it's still a Flight Sim community, as Cap was saying, get into the community. Share ideas. Share, if you have problems, talk to somebody about it, man. These guys will give you lots of help and so forth, man. I love it for that reason. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Flight Sim community, albeit one of the harder communities to kind of not make a name for yourself, but I feel like the Flight Sim community kind of has a bad rap, because there are some people that kind of take this hobby a little bit more seriously than some people, and I feel like sometimes it's harder for newer people or younger people to feel accepted in this hobby, and that's where I've kind of pretty much changed my channel and my atmosphere, and again, just kind of touching back on the way my moderators deal with things in chat and stuff like that, is we've kind of decided to go with this approach that, like, somebody asked me the other day, and somebody's like, "How come you're not timing out these questions, or don't you get bored answering the same question over and over and over?" And you have to understand that with Microsoft Flight Simulator out right now, there are so many new people in this hobby that it's not fair to just put all of them in one group and say, "Okay, you can't ask me that question because I've already been asked 5 or 6 times today." And a lot of the time, man, it's genuine people asking genuine questions because they don't know and they don't understand. Now, if you've watched my channel for 3 years, then yeah, okay, like I can understand how somebody asking Cap, what's your favorite airplane, or Cap, can you fly here, can you fly there, or Cap, what's your graphics setting, Cap, what are your camera controls? I can understand after 3 years how that could be like annoying, or how you wouldn't want to see that or something like that.
No.
But as a whole, and as a content creator and as a community leader, it's just something that I think like you get used to, and that you have to understand that those are questions that need to be answered, because you can't just leave people out of the dark, right?
Yeah.
There's new people in this hobby so much.
Except the question that says, XP, what are your add-ons? Like, what? What are my add-ons? Where do I start? Like, I can't list them. Can you type my add-ons for me, please?
Yeah, that's the thing too, right? I find that I guess it's kind of like the double-edged sword, right? It's people getting into this hobby for the first time, they see our streams, right? They see us flying X-Plane with our 300 add-ons, and with our weather programs and active sky and enhanced skyscapes and Mr. X textures and sceneries and ortho for XP, and they just want to jump head first into it, right? And you go, okay, hold on. There's so many things that you need to learn about the core simulator experience before you need to start adding ortho and sceneries and third-party airplanes. And I feel like a vanilla experience in any simulator will truly allow you to say, okay, yes, I'm interested in this, or no, I'm not interested in this, right? The add-ons make the simulators. I think we can all agree. Like X-Plane wouldn't be where it is today without Zebo and Tolus and Flight Factor and I&I builds and Rotate. Not a chance in hell. Not nowhere even close to where it is today. So I completely understand, but I also feel like it can be extremely daunting, somebody new coming into the hobby. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine. Seriously. Like there's games that I play that are nowhere near as complex as X-Plane, and I have to watch like hours of tutorials just how to play them, So for X-Plane,
absolutely, man.
I can't imagine. They watch your stream, they're like, oh man, it looks amazing. I want that. Like that was how I was when I saw P3D. I was like, well, if I get into P3, like you said earlier, how much it would cost? I'm like, well, how much would it cost me to put that on my screen, right? It's like they got the plane, they got the scenery, they got the ortho, then they got the mesh, and it's like, and then they got the cloud,
I was trying to explain the other day, somebody came in and he goes, Cap, I downloaded I downloaded V-States. The ortho looks good, but I have no buildings at my airport or the surrounding area. And I'm going in my head, I'm like, okay, this guy clearly is brand new to X-Plane and brand new to like inserting scenery in. I was like, how do I explain this? Trying to make sense. How do I explain this to somebody now that he needs to go and edit his I&I file, or that something needs to be done that way? It's like I remember when I first started X-Plane, right, and having to learn all these things, I had no clue what I was doing. I remember the first couple times that I downloaded and did anything with ortho for XP, I was deleting X-Plane native tiles, and it was just I ended up having to reinstall X-Plane because I had like deleted half of the actual tiles within X-Plane. There were just nothing would show up, just water. You'd fly over an air and it would just be the airport sitting in a brick of water. I'm sure we've all seen it. We've all messed up their mesh that bad.
Now you have me thinking, going, we went through the fun of building our simulators from scratch to where it looks, and then we enjoy it more because we had to do that. With Microsoft now, it's all there out the box. Where's your fun come from?
Honestly, that's where that's where I think that's where I kind of, it's as odd as this is to say, like it's almost like a calming experience as a streamer. It's almost a calming experience knowing that I'm going to be flying Microsoft Flight Sim, because like you said earlier, like I don't have to worry about my ortho drive. I don't need to worry about downloading ortho. I really don't need to worry about, will enhanced skyscapes work properly, or am I going to get an FPS impact on this or that? I don't have to worry about any of those things jumping into Microsoft. It's just hopefully the plane does what it's supposed to do. Hopefully the McDo follows the flight plan. That's basically the most of my worries on days where we jump inside Microsoft, because yeah, you nailed it. It's taken out all that scenery editing, all the cloud editing, anything to do with that. Just don't need that anymore, you know?
So when are you getting your Xbox?
as soon as Microsoft sends me one. How about that? That's when I'll play it.
We're gonna have a simulator where there's gonna be an Xbox crowd that has no way to have add-ons, really. You know.
Yeah, I'm really hoping as the life of Microsoft continues that they're going to figure out something. I was pleased to hear that the CRJ, I know that the development for the CRJ has been kind of slow and kind of quiet. At least on the PC, we've been waiting for the 900 and the 1000 for quite a while now. But they're going to be fully compatible with the Xbox. So that's really good news, is that you're going to start to see, I think it's going to be the bigger developers, the ones that maybe have a little bit more of a budget, if you will. I think you're going to start seeing some of those guys start, but I was very pleased to hear that. I was pleased to hear that the CRJ at some point, there's no release date, there's no nothing, but I was pleased to hear that it's going to be going to the Xbox. One of the things that I was a little bit upset about was VATSIM not being compatible, but I kind of also understand that. I think that that's kind of like opening Pandora's box, if you will.
Oh man,
I feel like VATSIM already is like borderline incoherently not perfect on a good day. So I can only imagine like dealing with volumes and microphones, and I don't even understand how that aspect of it would work, right? Because you're technically connecting to a client. I don't know how that works within the Xbox. I don't know if they'll ever get it to work with that on the Xbox, but the fact that we've got native multiplayer support, I mean, that I guess is a little bit of a savior, right? It allows us to, like I said, I've kind of been doing that once a month now, where I just join the multiplayer and anybody can come and join whatever jet, whatever plane, spawn your 747 on top of me, do your spins, do your circles, whatever makes you happy, right? And we're on Microsoft multiplayer network. We're not on VATSIM. We're not on Pilot Edge. We're not doing that type of stuff on there.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Right. In a perfect world for you, ATC or no ATC when you fly?
ATC always.
Okay.
It creates so much more. Add the realism factor, right? Especially with the way VATSIM and pilotage, and it's almost like real life. These guys are so good at what they do now. VATSIM has been around for so long that these controllers, they've got hundreds, if not thousands of hours. They know exactly what they're doing. There's just something extremely satisfying about loading up and seeing, like, you know, like in your streams, the Congo lines that join you. I've tuned in a couple times just to pop in. You look 40, 50 people, man, snaking down the line with you. Like, and to be real, like, that's impossible. How are you going to control that without controllers, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have 40 people all trying to, because everybody lands differently. Everybody plans their arrival. You're going to have some that are going to be lower than others, higher than others. You're going to have people that cut people off. It doesn't work, right? Yeah. When you have that many airplanes and that many people flying with you, you need ATC. Otherwise, it just becomes oh my goodness, right? And I'm sure you've seen it before, and I'm sure it's happened before where it just becomes like a cluster, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And shout out to the VATSIM controllers. I know they've put up with a lot of crap that happened in the past with my flying and everybody flying with me. But I think we're getting better now. We're coordinating it. We're planning it. You know, people are listening to the ATC. And I'm guilty of that too, because I'm here looking at the chat.
Oh, yeah.
And like, you're like, you know, so-and-so, hello, where you at? You know, but shout out to VATSIM. You know, those guys enjoy it as much as we enjoy flying. So
absolutely.
Have you guys
I'm a firm believer.
hot-mic'd?
I believe so. Yeah, I hot mic'd once. I don't know where, I forget where we were flying, but I was streaming actually, and they were very quick to like point it out. So I was very thankful.
True that. But shout out to VATSIM for that. You know, I appreciate them guys, you know, stepping up and doing it.
And I feel like with VATSIM, I feel like as long as you're constantly like learning and adapting and trying to better your streams and what you're doing and how you approach things, like you said, by contacting the controllers and getting people online and stuff like that, I feel like the more that happens, that's all they want, right? We're not pilots. Nobody's expecting us to be perfect. Nobody's expecting us to know the read back and the radio comms 100%, but they want to see you getting better. They want to see you trying to better yourself. I think that's where it's, and you've definitely done that. I mean, it's we all have, right? You look at any of our streams from a year or two ago, and the amount of growth that all of us have had, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. And that just becomes just getting more comfortable, man, and being comfortable in your shoes and being comfortable who you are as a streamer. And I mean, look at me. I used to have my microphone. I used to sit there and yell into my mic, and I was smoking and drinking Red Bulls and craziness, man. It's just absolutely crazy, you know? Like
it's true, man.
It's wild, man.
Wow, it's good, definitely, man. So how do you feel about pioneering butter, no floaties, rotate? What else? It's like at least
flight
10 of
sim
them.
language.
Oh man, the flight sim lingo. Well, to be fair, I can't take too much out of the butter. Butter's been around for a while. I think like Air Force Proud and Swiss 01 were definitely the butter founders, though that's kind of where I got that. Okay. Yeah, that's where I got those from. The rotate was kind of like a same thing. It was Air Force Proud. I used to watch a lot of his videos. He kind of said the same thing. It was kind of almost, he said it in like a little bit of a different way, but me being Canadian and half French Canadian, so it kind of made sense. Rotate, so you know, we kind of started, yeah, exactly. Like we just started having fun with it and doing these things. And now, honestly, like somebody asked me today, like the whole no floaties thing, and like I don't even know where all of this started from, you know, like the no floaties, it kind of just started off as like a form of saying thank you. And obviously as the channel grows and the more people and the more members and the more everything that you have, everything just gets blown up, right? So you have, you know, 50, 60 people spamming no floaties and butter and all this stuff, and it just becomes a snowball effect, and it honestly does.
Yeah, I got one. I have only one. It's called Airplane. What are you doing?
That's it, man. When in doubt, you just blame it on the airplane. It's the easiest
when in
thing
doubt,
to do.
float it out. And I heard myself say that. There you go.
Yes. Absolutely.
Damn it, Schmitty.
Absolutely. Damn it, Schmitty. That's another one. Exactly. Damn it, Schmitty.
I know it.
And you got to get the departure, the departure.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good one. I always get it in when I can. Always get it in when I can.
Man. Hey, look, pioneer, man, doing the thing. You know, I was looking at 2 hours already. Holy crap!
Crazy, man. We've been having a blast. No, I appreciate that. Listen, I'm gonna be real with you guys for a second right now. I really don't. I don't consider myself a pioneer. I don't really consider myself like anything special in the flight sim community. I really don't. If you sit and you have a convo with me, I think that you'll be the first person to realize that I'm just an extremely regular person that just has a huge passion for aviation and more importantly for flight sim. And I truly believe that's the reason that like I'm here today and I've been given this opportunity, is that I'm a little bit crazy. Obviously, I think anybody that streams and anybody that puts themselves on this kind of, you're a little bit crazy, right? I think it's fair to say that, like not in a bad way at all. It's just, it takes a certain personality and it takes a certain level of character, if you will, or something like that, to become a streamer and to do this and to put your entire life basically out for the world to see you. There's no, you know, like you said, people see you at your best, people see you at your worst, but you always do your best to try and just give them that level playing field. You know what I mean? And so I appreciate that, man, to hear you guys and to see how, you know, the success of your channel and more importantly, the success of everybody right now, the success of flight sim in general just makes me so happy. It continuously reminds me that I made the right choice by doing this, by pursuing a full-time job doing streaming, and more importantly, a full-time job in the flight sim industry, where I feel like there wasn't enough people, there wasn't enough boisterous people that maybe you know, could build some communities and build the awesomeness that we're seeing right now throughout YouTube, throughout Twitch, throughout all of that, man. So I'm very, very, very thankful, dude, for the position that I'm in, and I wish nothing but the best for you, XP, and for you, Blue, and for everybody that does this hobby, man. Without you guys here, seriously, we're not none of this is possible, right? So without communities like yours, XP, without communities like you, Blue, without communities like Flight Deck to Sim and V1 and Chewy and Jeff and all these content creators, we are the whole flight sim community. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy to see how much we're growing. It's crazy to see how the industry is growing. It's very humbling to be in this position and to be able to do this week after week and hang out with you guys and do these podcasts and just fly with you guys, man. Share the virtual skies, if you will. It's truly a pleasure, man. I never thought we would get this opportunity. I never thought we would be here.
No,
That's for sure, man.
And we could honestly be even talking for hours more, to be honest. There's
Absolutely,
so much we could talk
man.
about.
Absolutely.
One last thing, the community is funny within the gaming industry. We're like a small niche still, right?
Oh yeah.
And I constantly think, how can we grow this community? Can this community ever grow bigger than that, or is just airline and airplane is just a niche thing to begin with? Is it even possible to grow it, man? I don't know.
I think it is. I do think it is. I think you nailed it. I think it is an extremely niche market, and I think the best way to do it is just to continue creating content, man. Continue showing people, that you don't necessarily have to be the best pilot, or you don't necessarily have to be the best at ATC communications, or you don't necessarily need to be the best streamer. You don't have to have the best setup. It's all about what you enjoy doing and how you approach the situation and how you want to take in flight simming as a hobby and what you do. I think we're doing our part by continuously showcasing what's available on VATSIM, what's available between the simulators that we have, X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Sim, at least for us three in here. Those are our two big sims. Not only that, but like showcasing that there's a whole VATSIM side of it too, right? There's a whole, maybe flying's not your gig. Maybe you're not into flying, but you love aviation to the point where you want to try VATSIM, or you want to try Pilot Edge, or you want to try IVAO, or you want to try POSCON. Any of these networks that are available, I think it's important that content creators keep doing what we're doing, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that are truly pushing the industry forward and showcasing what's available. And I mean, yeah, we can briefly talk on it. Look at Thrustmaster, man. Thrustmaster hooking us up with sponsorships and getting us their products and making sure that, XP has the new yoke and Captain Canada has the new yoke and Blue has the new yoke and Jeff has the new yoke. There's a reason these guys do this, right? Because they know that the industry moving forward needs faces. We need people. We need to be able to put a name to a person, and we need to be able to showcase all these cool tools and all of this fun stuff in the simulator. I think we're forever grateful. I think we just need to keep doing what we're doing, man. I don't think there's like a recipe. I don't think there's like you talked about earlier, the blueprint. There's no blueprint to this, right? Like, we're kind of just coasting, man. We're just going through. There's ups, there's downs, there's you just got to get through it, and you just got to have fun and kind of embrace it and enjoy it. That's pretty much my outlook on it.
I feel like when Microsoft Flight Simulator came out last year, I think it surprised us how, in the way that they marketed it to a community greater than where we are, right? Like we just said, we're like in this niche. We're small. We're in our little dark room with our little flight controls flying A to B, right? But then it's like this massive gaming community we have out here. And it's like we're not reaching them. And I get it. Again, we're just a small niche. Yeah. But when Microsoft dropped, we, for the first time, were let out of our little room, right? And we're now, you know, for us streamers, we're broadcasting to people who never seen a flight sim before, never even had an interest. I had friends texting me that they saw at the Xbox show, you know, Microsoft Flight Sim, and they actually wanted to try it. And they don't like planes at all. And so that was like the first time I've seen since I've been a part of the flight sim community that we've actually been able to kind of peek outside of our niche. And so kind of back to what XP was saying is like, is it possible? It was proven just then that it's possible to kind of like get there, but like, is it possible to do that again on like in any other way? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of
I feel you, man.
You said one thing with the hardware manufacturers coming on board. We've gotten so much hardware in the sim community in the last 3-4 years.
It's crazy.
They did between Microsoft 95 and X-Plane 9 and so forth. We,
Yep.
Honeycomb, Thrustmaster, just a whole bunch of people, and there's probably going to be more now. Turtle Beach,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? So
And it's
that's probably
crazy.
a telling. Yep.
Yeah, no, sorry to cut you off. No, you're 100% right. And I think getting back to what Blue was saying, I think that there's no advertising when it comes to flight sim, right? And I think that's kind of where we're doing our part as content creators and stuff like that. And there's no advertising, right? You're not watching the TV on the commercial. Maybe Microsoft has pushed Microsoft Flight Simulator. Maybe there are some TV commercials about it, but like for X-Plane and stuff like that, like there's no, the only way you truly learn about these products is through content creators, through streamers, through people who make content and share their love and their passion for flight sims. And I think what we're starting to see now is we're really starting to see the industry realize that. I think up until recently, it was never really a like, let's give XP-72 this airplane and because, we'll get 15 or 20 sales out of it. Now it's like a total, like these companies are getting on board, right? We have Tolis who is giving the airplane out weeks in advance to certain select streamers because they know these people are going to sell them products. They're going to, it's an amazing way of advertising.
Yeah.
So, just to get back to you, I truly think like I see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I really do, as far as the content creation side goes, because as this hobby grows and as we get more and more people involved with it, there has to be some type of threshold of what is acceptable and what's not, right?
Yeah.
So a good way to do that is to give it to a streamer and see what a streamer thinks about it. Does this get XP's seal of approval? Does this get Blue Game's seal of approval? Does Captain approve of this product, or is it not? And what you're going to start to see is the companies like I Builds and Tolis and all of these companies who are very confident in their product really start to do well because they're starting to do that stuff. I mean, look at I Builds. They came out of nowhere with their A300. They are one of the best developers for X-Plane.
Perfect
bar
out the
none.
block, almost perfect out the block from day one. Wow.
And they came out of nowhere, left field. What did we get? Maybe a month before release, we started getting Tippett little screenshots, and
that's the way to do it, man. Right there. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Absolutely.
Don't make us wait 4 years. Like go ahead, tease us 2 weeks out, drop it, and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like what you were saying. I think that, and I agreed. I think you agree with me as well on this. Is I think the most effective way of advertising a third-party add-on product for any flight sim specifically is to get it into the creator's hands and let them show it. Let them show it.
Absolutely.
No strings attached. But hey, look at this. Stream it. Tell people what you think. The good, the bad. You're free to do whatever you want to do with this. Because people are gonna watch that. They respect you, right? They respect the people they're watching, and they'll make a more educated decision on that. Other than that, I mean, you can make all the beautiful trailers you want, but that means nothing because you're only going to show the pretty parts.
You nailed it, man. You nailed it. And that's not what people want to see, right? People want to see the everyday user using it, and they want to see it in an everyday example. They want to see what it looks like at cruise on a cloudy day or on a sunny day, or no, you got it, man. You nailed it.
Another thing I want them to talk about, and I mentioned it multiple times in my streams. Not sure if you guys ever heard of me just kind of like talking about this, but what do you guys think about? Now, we talked about third-party developers within our community sponsoring creators or giving us early access products to showcase it, but what about going into the more corporate world? Like, what about, like, for example, for you, Captain Canada, like, wouldn't it make sense for Air Canada themselves to sponsor a stream and you fly an Air Canada livery? You know what I'm saying? It's like they do it all the time.
As a recruit to youngsters who wanted to get into aviation.
Exactly.
It's extremely interesting opinion. I've you know what? Honestly, but it's one of those things I don't think I've ever really thought about, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever it's a great question. I definitely see there being some type. Here's the thing: is kind of the flight sim industry in the real world. It's kind of always been like
disconnect.
There really has been a disconnect. You nailed it. That's the exact word that I was looking for. I feel like it's the flight sim. The real world looks almost down upon the flight sim, and it's not quite. It's maybe yes and maybe no. I am definitely on board with that. I think that would be absolutely amazing, because you see all these major airlines, they sponsor, the travel channels and stuff like that, right? They'll give free upgrades to, Sam Chewy, for example, just off the top of my head. We all know Sam Chewy. So one of those where, I don't think this guy even buys his tickets anymore, right? I think
Probably
they're just
not.
provided. He may end up buying his tickets, but from what I've gathered and from my understanding, it's stuff like that. It's whereas, maybe they should start looking at the flight sim industry as a potential, like XP just said, even as like a recruitment, even as, you get somebody that, you get, it's like this all the time. I said, we have, I don't know if you know, Reese, we have Reese. Everybody calls Reese the mini Captain Canada in my channel, because Reese has been flying. He's a young kid. I don't know how old he is. I don't want to say his age on chat. I don't want to get it wrong, but he's a young kid. But, like XP was just hitting on it, if you can get some of these young kids, that have basically do what we're doing, self-teaching each other. I've never had a flight lesson in my life. I've never been taught how to fly a Cessna or a 737 or an A320 or a 319 or anything like that, right? We're all self-taught. So if you can get people that are self-teaching themselves this type of stuff from the comfort of their home, and then you can just, apply the formalities of training, if you will, right? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. People ask me all the time, they're like, Cap, would you be able to go fly a real plane? And it's like, okay, well, I don't know if I'd be able to go fly a real plane, but I can promise you one thing. I'll be able to sit down in a cockpit of a 7.3 of an A320 and know what I'm looking at, and probably get the airplane to do an auto land or get it to go on an ILS. I'm confident enough that I would be able to do something like that. The same thing was when, last year, Schmid and I had a great opportunity. We went into that real 737 sim. It was, have I ever been inside a real 737 cockpit? No, but I sat down and it was just like being in the Zebo. I looked up, everything was there. So it was one of those things where it's the translation between the sim and the real world. All it is just that small little going from your simulator to the real world. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
Let me say it to you. Shout out to Fly with Rookie, because we did that same thing in San Diego, and you're right. It's all right there.
Yeah.
You just have to adjust. It takes 5 minutes to adjust yourself. You know where all the buttons are. You know what they do. You know how they operate. You know the principles of the flying. The feel might be different. That's it, right?
Yeah.
But Southwest just had a deal that they're trying to put out to people because of pilot shortage again. They're gonna, somehow help you pay for the whole come up and get a job at Southwest thing. That would be a wonderful recruiting opportunity to have a flight simulator.
Exactly.
Absolutely would be.
Exactly. Yeah. Think about also like Mesa Airlines is a regional airline. They're also doing a big promotion right now. A lot of advertising on Instagram. I've been seeing. Like, imagine putting that into a creator's hands, right? Like, hey, well, Mesa Airlines is a regional airline. It's not the most, or what's the word I'm looking for? Fancy, I guess, type of
big major guys.
Yeah, it's not like a big major thing what you're thinking about. But if somebody like XP or you, whatever, hop into a type of aircraft that they fly, and you really fly it, have some nice looks at the exterior, like, oh, this is a really cool Embraer or really cool CRJ, whatever. Then people will see that, like, you know what? I wouldn't mind flying that plane in real life, And so obviously it could be a long-term thing. It could also be a short-term thing if people are already, towards the end of their flight train. Maybe they're CFIs looking to get into their first airline job, whatever that may be. But I do agree with Captain Canada, where it's like for whatever reason, there is definitely still that disconnect between flight simming and real world, because we see a lot of real world pilots, people who just like, they know exactly what they want to do. Like, all right, I want to be a pilot. And they go straight to flight school. They skip the whole flight sim thing. Like, but for us, we go flight sim, and then we maybe want to get into an airline. And so it's like, but then they don't mix all the time. But I just think that, imagine being a brand, right? Like, I remember when I came up with this idea, it was Air France. It was a long shot because they're way the heck over there, right? But still, I was like flying Air France in like probably a 787 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Most beautiful livery. I'm just in cruise, messing around with the drone. It looks like a freaking Air France commercial. I'm like, I should be sponsored for this. You know what I'm saying? And,
absolutely,
but not just to getting the job side, but like just brand awareness, brand loyalty, right? Because like here where I live at in Houston, I have a brand loyalty to United. Why? Because I
Yep.
grew up in a United hub. That's all I ever saw flying in and out of the airport. I just see that logo always, right? Now, if
Yep.
you hook up with the flight sim community, not saying you're restricting a flight simmer to only flying United, because he's not going to want to do that, right? But you could be like, hey, maybe you fly United once a month. You could be flying anyways. Delivery exists probably on that plane, and you probably wouldn't mind flying to one of their hubs or something like that. You know, for another example, United just released all their 2020 long haul hubs, right? And so I could be, you know, just for promotional stuff. I think it could definitely be beneficial to them. Even though we seem to be like in a small niche, I think it could be beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think any type of awareness, I think, would be, and that's where I think maybe there, that's where obviously there's fine lines that need to be drawn, right? Because, you know, United doesn't want to, you know, for an example, they're not going to want to support
somebody landing with no
stream.
gear.
Exactly. No,
don't crash your
not
airplane.
only that, but like that's what I'm more so getting at. Is more like, you know, they don't want somebody crashing the plane and then, you know, oh boy, yeah. You see how this is going, man.
Trust me,
let's just go there.
You get a sponsorship like that, believe you me, you'll be doing less talking in the chat and concentrate on flying.
Oh man, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is sponsored by United. I'm not reading chat today. Yeah, that's exactly how it would be, man.
No, I hear it. It's true.
Oh,
but look,
man.
You know what? Look, some might look at this later and say, "Oh, you guys are dreaming," but you know what? That's how things.
I'm pushing this. Right? I'm serious.
Oh, like, I mean, listen, I'm not. I've actually had a couple people. Now, whether this is true or the validity of it is actual, I have no clue. But I've actually had a couple people reach out in my streams and say like, hey, you know, I work for WestJet PR, or hey, I work for Air Canada PR. You know, would be cool if maybe we could get you to fly down and we'll sponsor a whole event and we can get you in one of our real world simulators, and it'd be cool to see how, you know, so stuff like that. Like I've received emails, I've received comments and questions about stuff like that. Now, again, whether they're true and the validity behind it, I have no clue. It's something that I'll have to explore. But I'm with you, Blue, man. I truly feel like not only that, but just think about this for a second. Okay, think about it. Like we go down to the expo every year, right? At least we plan to. We attempt to make it down to the expo every year. Think about it. You know, WestJet or Air Canada sponsors Air Canada's trip down to down to the Flight Sim Expo. Southwest or Delta sponsors XP's trip down to the expo. Blue, you get sponsored by Frontier or United or whoever flies. You know what I mean? It's not a crazy thing, right? You think about this whole thing and you think about, you know, we come to an agreement, we make a flight trip video, we bring our cameras, we record the takeoff, we record our, you know, walking onto the airplane, just like anybody does, and we make a story out of it. And you're not wrong, man. I definitely see, as the future goes and as the community keeps growing and growing, and the more partnerships that either Microsoft or some of these developers start moving going forward, I truly think that I see that being an actual thing, man. I don't think you're too far off, Blue. I really don't think you are, man.
I'm sorry, I'm reading chat, and damn 12-cut pizza goes, I'm still waiting for a Burger King sponsorship.
Hey, listen, I was waiting for my water sponsorship.
Right?
I got sponsored by the company who makes cups. They finally were like, hey, Cap,
halfway there.
Realized you didn't get your water sponsorship, so we're gonna send you some mugs, okay? And I was like, okay, thanks, guys.
It's true. No, but yeah, you know, look, the guys who do racing, you know, sim racing and stuff like that.
Bro,
you know,
over there, it is crazy.
Oh, it's crazy, man.
They get sponsored by,
crazy.
I mean, right now, like in the NASCAR scene, like the real world NASCAR race teams are sponsoring sim drivers.
Ooh, yeah,
and they have
absolutely.
a sim racing team also. Yeah. Besides their
did you see Orbex? Like Orbex has their own car wrapped livery in. Yeah, I forget where. I'll have to pull that up somewhere. But if you do, Orbex sponsors. I don't know what it is. It's some type of IndyCar racing. But they sponsor that, and the guy actually, he placed the other day, like won something, and yeah. So Orbex, yeah. So they've got a whole car and the whole the guy's like uniform that he wears, his protective uniform is all Orbex and stuff. It's pretty cool. It says like Orbex Systems on the front of it. It's pretty neat.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
That's pretty
yeah.
dope.
So it's true, man. They're you know, marketing is marketing. And if we can show as content creators, right, if we can show that it will have a positive impact, I'm pretty sure anybody that, anybody, as long as it's not a marketing risk, as long as there's no crazy risks involved, which, so I understand maybe, supporting a stream and stuff like that from a real world perspective, we might still be a little bit away, but like doing something like that, like sponsoring a trip or even, down to the expo, because like, Southwest and WestJet and all these guys, they give discounts, right? I'm pretty sure like XP, I'm sure like Southwest or I know WestJet does. I don't know. I think there's a couple US carriers that offer the discounts as well for anybody that's flying to the expo. So they know that these expos are things, right? Yeah. So they know that these expos are going on. They know that these are a thing. So we could totally use, you're on to something here, Blue. We should talk about this outside of speak. We're on to something here because man, like they know, these companies know about these events, right? So maybe if us three or one of us, we can bring like, we say, hey, listen, between the three of us, we can get you guys 100,000 views on something that you wouldn't ever have. That's amazing marketing, right?
Yeah,
they pay nothing to give us a free seat, and in return we make this huge story, we make this huge video, about flying on the airline. And not only that, but the way that it works in marketing is if people see XP flying an airline, people see Blue flying an airline, people see Cam Canada flying an airline, they may be more they may be more entitled to want to fly that airline, or more importantly, they may feel like they need to go down to the expo because they know we're going to be there, and they end up buying a ticket at full price, and that covers all of the costs that it's the way the world works, man.
Yep, we definitely need to expand the flight sim universe so the airline
absolutely
can sponsor it. Absolutely, I agree, man. Definitely, good one, Blue.
This is a good one, Blue.
This is why I talk to Blue, by the way. This is why we spend hours talking about ideas. It's good stuff, man.
Good one, man.
Love
it.
A
good one, dude.
Absolutely. That's my dream. My dream is for the flight sim community to just expand, just like other communities have. Just expand the thing. You know what I mean?
I agree.
My dream. I
think it will as we start getting some more third-party stuff for Microsoft Flight Sim, and as we start getting even higher fidelity third-party content for X-Plane 11 and 12, I think that we're going to start seeing a big upscale, because I think what we're going to start to see here soon is that we're going to stop seeing that such a disconnect from real world and flight sim. I think the reality of these add-ons coming out forward, with the reality of the visuals that is coming from Microsoft Flight Sim, I think you're going to start seeing more and more, whether it be for training or whether it just be pilots, maybe they're not flying for a couple weeks and they want to stay sharp and they want to keep their skills. You see them jumping into, because we have a PMDG in Microsoft Flight Sim, and stuff like that.
Man, I can't wait for that wing view.
I guess I'm gonna have to start using checklists now. Okay, all right, I see where this is going.
It's all in here. Checklists are all in here. You're good.
I know, man.
You're good.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, this is epic. This has been epic, man.
This has been a great show, man, guys. I really do appreciate you bringing me on. I think we should probably wrap it. We're over 2 hours now. Jeez.
Yeah, 2:20. We're at 2 hours and 20 minutes right now.
We're having too much fun.
Hour ago.
Oh boy. It's a good thing we're not on the clock, so it's okay. We're good.
Oh,
definitely, man. No floaties in chat, guys, for Captain Canada.
Get your no floaties.
No floaties.
Thank you guys
chat.
for having me. Seriously, I've watched a couple. Like I was explaining to XP. Usually on Thursdays I'm not around, so I end up usually missing the experience, or I'll end up coming home about an hour ago, so I'll catch the very tail end of it. But it's always a pleasure to hang out with you guys. It was so good to see you guys down in San Diego again in 2019. Next year, we definitely need to whether we plan a day, maybe just sit down, brainstorm together. This has been fun, man. We've even just through here, just messing about, we've bounced some pretty cool ideas back and forth and stuff. So that was awesome.
Absolutely, man. Wow. Woo, man, it was good. Good, man. Absolutely good. Definitely appreciate
that,
by the
guys.
way, at such short notice coming on and just saying, hey, let's run with it.
No worries, man.
We called you early in the week. It's like, hey, man, can you do? You're like, yeah, let's do it. So it was perfect, and we'll keep doing our thing. Stream community, we thank you guys so much for your support and watching all the streams, participating in it. Saying hi, your donations, the whole 9 yards. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're happy to provide you guys entertainment. I'm definitely know Captain Canada does, Blue does, and myself does. So thank you guys, man. Absolutely, Cap. Appreciate it, man. Any last words for the people, Cap? Anything?
No, man. Honestly, it was a pleasure. Again, why I took this, I knew it was just going to be us hanging out and just having fun. I knew it wasn't going to be anything stressful. We were just going to be speaking and being ourselves. You nailed it, man. To the community, to everybody, to XP's community, to Blue's community. You guys are awesome, and it's not. I really truly feel like we're a whole community, right? I don't really think it's Captain Canada's community versus XP's community versus Blue's community. We're all in this together, man. It's such a niche, small market that we're all on this together. Whether you think there's like animosity between streamers or between anything, I can tell you there's not, man. We're all normal people. We all get along. We all truly respect what each other does. We know how hard it is. We know how week after week after week, sometimes it can feel daunting even at some point. But like XP just said, man, we're here because we love it. We're here because we respect the flight sim community, and we respect flight sim so much that we want to share our passion to it. So I can't thank you guys enough for everybody that watches my stream and watches these guys' stream and watches everybody, man. You guys are the best, and we really do appreciate you guys. And I hope we can continue to build this community into something even bigger than it is right now. I think that would be crazy.
Awesome.
Woo! That's it. I ain't got nothing to add. He said it all. He said it all. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for coming through again for another episode. Episode 13. Can you believe it?
Wow.
But we're gonna keep it going.
Crazy, man.
We're gonna keep it going. Yep. We see you guys next week. Remember, you have 3 choices: give up, give in, give it all you got. Peace, love, and God bless you. We will see you guys next time. Next experience.
Out.
Take care, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And slide the outro. Bam.
There you go.